Sabrina, you should probably do a parasite cleanse. Diabetes, arthritis, cancer, all caused by parasites. That is a theory. We had 7,165 views. So we're already getting those numbers right now. The total number of views we're on right now is over 7,000. And I like to create a coherent, loving space so that while you're watching, we are in the meditation. You're in the flow of cosmic, universal, Christ-like energy, and that's awesome. So yes, I do believe we can change the outcome, and that's good because, again, people are challenged, and actually right now the right-wing base, the Republican base, is very upset. There is a type of dark night of the soul going on. A lot of people have been upset by actions of our leader, and it really, really got weird. And so let's dive right into the topic here because people are demanding that I get on topic. So, okay, 1 hour in, we'll do that. He posted a picture of himself as Christ Jesus himself, and I'll tell you what, son, the oversized ego that he's out there spouting unlike anything we've ever seen before. He's like some sort of Arab oil sheik putting out all this gold inside the White House. And he's out there wanting to make big arches, and he wants to make a grand ball. Whoa, it's all paid for, $400 million. Son, you know where my politics are. You know where I stand, because I get my news from the most authoritative sources on earth. CNN, CBS, ABC. I don't really watch NBC as much anymore. Those are my sources, son, and my sources are saying that he has frickin' flipped his lid. He is over the moon. He is beyond the pale. He is over the rainbow. Something has changed. It's gotten even worse than it already was because, my God, he actually put this picture up on his social media page. Now, you look at what's going on here. Oh, my God, son. He's got a ball of light in his hand. He's wearing the robes, and he's healing this man. And here's this woman over here, and she's got her hands clasped together in prayer. Oh, my God, David. You got to tell me that this is a joke. It's got to be some kind of joke. It can't be real. This could not have actually happened, but it did. Okay, it really did. My God, son. My God. Woo, Ed Creeder donated $333. Thank you very much. And it is Ed's will, not to be confused with God's will. It is Ed's will that he says, meat budget 2 cents, get an elk tenderloin. He donated $333. That is awesome. Thank you very, very much. Sorry, I had to slide on our ascended president. I mean, look, I kind of laughed at it, but at the same time, I'm like, man, try not to make mistakes that are going to piss everybody off. Let's try to get beyond that a little bit. Angry Daddy lives. I love it. Glory be to God. All right. Well, yeah, it was pretty freaking crazy. We're going to talk about this a lot more. But because there's a woman in a nurse's gown over there with a stethoscope around her neck, he says, "Oh, I'm just a doctor." Well, I wish that doctors could do this kind of stuff. I wish that we were at that point in the ascension process where you have a medicineless hospital like we've seen before. Ho'oponopono. I talked about that in my last post. Here was this guy who in Hawaii healed everybody just by saying, "I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you." Those 4 things. You say those things in prayer. You visualize the residents in the mental hospital he was working at. They all ended up getting discharged. They all ended up being set free. Everybody got better. So yes, in the future, I think doctors are going to be like this, but right now, probably not. And what's up with those fighter jets anyway? Isn't that weird? That's one of the crazy things AI will do. It's kind of like somewhere between a bird and a fighter jet. The AI, I guess, thought that was cool. Looks pretty strange to me, and they almost look like bats in the background. We're going to need a lot more into all this, okay? But yes, there's a woman praying, and it clearly looks like he's accomplishing some sort of ascended master healing miracle, which kind of is in thematic view with our show. But then again, like the part that really freaked people out is what the heck is up with the so-called soldier at the top of the image? I mean, whoa. Is that the Statue of Liberty, supposedly, with the torch? But then why is there torches on both sides? Are those wings? And what's up with the whole, like, crown? It's like 3 spikes. It looks like you take out the one in the middle, there's 2 spikes. It's basically some type of demon. There's a demon. David, there is a demon over the President of the United States. He put up this thing by his own free will on his own frickin' page. He's got a picture of himself as Jesus Christ. But no, this Jesus Christ is a Jesus who's got a demon in the clouds. Over and above the top of his head, there's a frickin' demon with light coming off of his body. And he's got these other soldiers that are very happy to get in there and get all stabby with it. They got a knife. They're going to get all nice and stabby with it. Oh, my God, son, this is crazy. It's demonic, okay? It's literally freaking demonic. What's your excuse for that, son? My sources are telling me it's satanic, okay? My sources, CBS, ABC, they're not too happy about this, son. So what is your explanation for that? Well, we're not going to tackle that one just yet. But, yeah, it's pretty freaking weird, I got to say. And so, like, probably the best way to deal with something this painful is to laugh. And, yeah, I mean, like, there it is. It's not exactly very hidden either, is it? I mean, it's right there in the clouds. We're going to discuss this and figure out, like, what the heck is going on here? What happened? What is this? Yeah, this was on Truth, by the way. We'll see. I actually took a screenshot of it when it first came out. I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And then, again, you zoom in on it. So, yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, this was really not cool. And so if you feel like you're going crazy, I understand. I mean, the first thing that happened to me when I saw this is I'm like, oh, my God. And the Alliance was posting about it, and they're saying there's a demon in the clouds. This is what really led me to say, like, wait a minute, is there some type of schism going on between the President and the Alliance? I mean, we're gonna unpack this, and people are saying it's the Magician card from the Tarot, posted 63 days before his birthday. The Magician is 63. Okay, well, I don't know. 1 equals A, 26 equals Z equals 26. Okay, whatever. Everything is a com. It has multiple meanings. Well, again, very strange. If this was some type of communication, you know, what was the stated objective? What are we trying to get communicated? And I know some people have said that a lot of modification was made to this image. We're going to get back into that later, but it is just extremely weird. And yes, the Statue of Liberty is also supposedly a statue of Isis, the female aspect of Lucifer. Some people have said that. The demon also has what looks like the same type of crown as the Statue of Liberty, plus the wings, if you will, do kind of look like the Statue of Liberty's torch. If you see, it's like actually two torches with the hands put together. You can look at that up close, see that up close. In fact, I might even, let's actually zoom in on that a little bit more, and then I'll show you that it actually is the torch from the hand of the Statue of Liberty, really up close. So let's do that right now. Give me 1 second here. That way you can really, really see this. We'll go super, super up close on it. You can actually see that very clearly. So I have a slide where we do this later, but I want to do it now because it's kind of important. The Statue of Liberty symbolism is definitely part of what I think we're seeing here. So anyway, there it is. All right. And so let's go into that. Okay, boom. So yes, if you look at it, the hands actually do appear to be holding torches, and it does look like the crown of the Statue of Liberty. So yeah, that's pretty weird. But again, most people were really alienated by this. Yeah, this is not really cool. And so, you know, if you're feeling like you're going crazy, I totally understand. Question I want to ask is, okay, again, is this actually 5D chess, or was it just a really bad political mistake? Well, it's kind of hard to make a mistake when you got a team around you, I would think. It's kind of hard, but anyway, what is really going on here, and why did he do that? We're going to unpack all that as time goes on. Did somebody slip this by him? Was this unintentional? Did he not really look at it enough to see that the demon was there? But we're going to show you later in a lot of up-close shots that there's a lot of detail in these images. It's pretty wild. Simply an error of the AI generation. That's not true, because I'll show you the original one did not have that type of imagery in it at all. It's not an AI error. Like it or not, this is what we're dealing with, okay? So even if this is scaring the crap out of you and you're like, oh my God, he's evil, he's the Antichrist, that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, well, we still got to live here. We still need, this is still what we're dealing with, and we still need our planet to remain intact. Since the Alliance themselves, as I'll show you a little bit later, called this out as a demon, are they still getting along, or has there been a schism? Well, that was pretty crazy, that whole thing, and then it got a lot weirder just this morning. This is breaking news. A weird video is lighting X on fire. It's everywhere right now. Kim.com covered it, and he said it was real. It's actually not real. We'll get this in a minute, but trolling him even more, trolling the president even more, he posted this, "Are you worried?" And so somebody literally who's in like what looks like a Masonic apron behind him, you see that guy in the background? That's probably a Masonic apron he's wearing, or at least something similar. He takes this blood and he dumps it over the president's head, and it goes down over his face, and then the president is speaking in some type of what sounds like a satanic dialect. He's doing all this crazy stuff, and his eyes get all weird, and there's blood on his face. It is extremely, extremely freaking creepy, to say the least. And he says that the president posted this. Are you worried? There's another shot of it. I mean, his face looks really wild. You don't even usually ever see his eyes get that crazy looking when he's normally talking. I mean, now, David, his eyes can get pretty freaking crazy, okay, but nothing quite like that much. But anyway. And then he said, update, he deleted it. Well, no, it was never there in the first place. But now in the picture that you see on the top, you see the guy with his hand coming out of the blood. There's a bowl of blood. I mean, this is just straight up freaking weird, satanic, implying things like sacrifices, implying extreme evil. And it gets worse because this is somebody that thinks that it's real. Just another Sunday expression of satanic devotion. Please, 100% MAG, explain, defend this. Oh, the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And then we have Qatar Slim. I don't want to say the rest. He is posting stuff that only a madman who did these things and knows he's going to hell would post. Yes, so I don't think this ever really did show up on that page. In fact, this is what we got. Did he really post this, asks the Slayer. And then Grok responds, no, he did not post this. It is a fake AI-generated image. Notice Skyline Report-generated watermark showing a bizarre blood scene falsely attributed to his X account on April 18th of 2026. No matching post exists from the real site. Never did. The idea that it was up and he deleted it apparently is not true. It is classic misinformation. And so that's what we're really dealing with. But, you know, I believe this is true. I believe Grok knows enough to know the answer. So then the question is, who did this and why did they do it? And what's the hidden agenda here? What's really going on? We're going to get into that. But first, I want to show you this next one, too. He must have been up late last night losing it because he dropped a wild combo. First, Frank Sinatra sings My Way. Then the full music video of Slipknot, which is like a heavy metal band, Psychosocial. If you match those two together, the message basically becomes, I'm a madman who's gone crazy. I'm snapping and I did it my way. Well, I think that if this was fake, as Grok is saying, somebody deliberately made that fake to want you to think that he's lost his mind, to follow up on the Jesus thing, which again, he did post it, and it's probably, I mean, who knows what the heck it was. He might have thought it was funny. He had no idea it was going to get that much backlash. I don't want to defend it too much because it is kind of crazy, but like, wait a minute. We got to try to understand this because he's our president, and we're trying to like not all just die here and give up that, oh my God, he's evil, he's the Antichrist. But yeah, this is like them really trying to make you think something's gone wrong. And you know, whoever it is that did it, I think it's probably got a very orchestrated thing behind it. Now, let's go on from here. So I'm a madman, I've gone crazy, I'm snapping, and I did it my way. It could be, but I don't think that's what we're dealing with. I don't think that, it wasn't his. We just saw that on Grok told us. He or his account, he posted this on, pouring what looks like blood over his head in a ritual-style scene, and he mutters in a whispering voice, Hashaka Shanlala, which sounds exactly like he's speaking in tongues. Now, I looked that up, and it actually does translate into something, and wait till you see what it translates. It's going to make it even darker and scarier and crazier. Hashaka Shanlala. Now, the la-la at the end doesn't mean anything, but Hashaka Hashakashan actually does mean something in a Hindu dialect from India around the area of Tibet. Wait till you find out what that means. Look, if you don't want to come across as putting out demonic or sacrilegious content, maybe don't post AI videos of this blood ceremony being performed on you as you speak in tongues. Whether it was meant as trolling, a joke, or something else, a strange look, especially after the other My Way psychosocial combo, mixing defiant anthems and rage music and then layering on occult imagery doesn't exactly scream light and salt. Just saying, if we're talking about spiritual warfare and unseen realms, this type of content isn't helping the conversation. Okay, so Hashaka Shanlala, it's very creepy. I don't want to do it the way he did it because it's so disturbing when it's whispered. But yeah, it creeped me out, I got to admit, but I saw right away that it was not, it wasn't him. Grok has more intelligence than we do, and so it wasn't on Truth Social ever. But what the hell does Hashaka Shanlala mean? Well, I looked it up. Wait till you get this, dude. Check this out. It actually means in the meat. And the detection of the dialect is Kazi, in the meat. And what are they doing? They're putting blood on his face. So what is the meat? Whoa. Sort of like what we were talking about before, the idea of people saying, oh, yeah, you know, that this and that. And I don't want to get too into it. Certain types of fast food, you know, accusations that have been made. In the meat. Wow. So that's what they actually had him say. Now, was that an accident? Maybe not. And again, the dialect is Kazi. It means in the meat. That's a very strange thing to say. An Austro-Asiatic language spoken in Meghalaya, which is like MAGA, isn't it? So that's interesting. Northeast India by over 1 million people, closely related to other Southeast Asian languages like Mon and Vietnamese rather than neighboring Tibetan languages and Burmese languages. It's written in Latin script. You can read all the rest if you want to. It's in Meghalaya, India, like MAGA. So this actually fits very well. And again, to me, it has associate official status in certain dialects of Meghalaya. And at the bottom, it says it is unique for being an Austro-Asiatic language located in a region dominated by Tibeto-Burman and Indo-Aryan, Aryan. Oh my God, Aryan languages in an area called Meghalaya. And it means in the meat. Hashaka Shanlala. Holy crap. Do you think maybe somebody did this on purpose? And do you think that that was done by somebody, not him? But again, because Grok says it wasn't him who did it. So yes, this looks like it's a setup. They got to tell you what they're doing. They got to hide it out in the open. I'm not trying to make excuses here. I mean, the whole thing is like really, really freaking creepy and weird. I mean, don't get me wrong. But like, did he do this on his own? No. But they're wanting you to think that he did. And so, yeah, I won't say it 3 times. That's a good point. Why is Marilyn Manson talking about meat in his new album? Good question. So yeah, this is really disturbing stuff, man. And you know, so in the meat, and then you see that there's blood poured on his face by somebody in an apron. This is like somebody really trying to literally smear him. They literally have blood on his face, smearing blood on his face. It is a smear, and where we were told by the AI that it's not really him. So somebody wants him to look really bad right now. They're trying to take advantage of this situation. I think that's what it is. And we're going to be okay. So anyway, is he the Antichrist? No, I really don't think so. But these are very strange times, and I just want to be clear that, like, you know, he's never done anything like this before, and I don't think it was him. So I'm inclined to believe that it wasn't. If anybody can find proof that it was up on Truth at one time, send it to me, and I'd be happy to use it next week. I don't want to cover anything up, but you know, we're just doing what we have to do here. So anyway, an Aryan language in an area called Meghalaya. Oh my God! And it actually means in the meat. Hashakashan. The la doesn't mean anything. But maybe LA, I mean, who knows? It could be like that. So I think it's a clever fake, and that there's obvious interference going on here as a result of this. I do not believe he did this on his own. I don't think he would go that far over the edge, but everybody is talking about it. There's posts everywhere about this. And people are freaking out, which is what the negative would want. They would want you to think, oh, he's just like us. He's no different than us. They try to do that to me. They want you to think I'm like them. I am absolutely not. If anybody says I am like them, it is a smear. It is planted information. It is not real. There is nothing to discover. My life, I pride myself on living a clean life. If anybody tried to say that wasn't the case, they are lying. And anybody who knows me knows that. You talk to my friends, you talk to my exes, nothing weird going on. Even my trolls admitted that, you know, when I'm out there in private speaking to my friends, I sound the same as I do on my show. There's nothing weird going on. So why would there be interference? I mean, maybe what's going on is that there's some really strange stuff happening that they're trying to forestall, but at the same time, good things are still happening, and that's what's really great. That's what we got to watch out for. You are watching a movie. That's right. That's what somebody said in the comments here. Aryan is Iran. That's good. I hadn't even thought of that. You're right. Aryan, Iran, you know, Iran war, pretty freaking wild. So you are watching a movie. Yes, indeed. That's very interesting. So yeah, I think somebody is trying really hard to smear him, and you know, he does make mistakes. I would call that Jesus thing a mistake. It alienated the base. We'll talk a little bit about more of that later, but anyway, good things are still happening. The war is not completely gone off the deep end. Thank God. There is a pathway to peace being established, and part of the way we're going to get there, I believe, is disclosure. It's going to help us dramatically with our spiritual awakening. Once we get disclosure, we learn that we're not alone. We learn that there is a cosmic benefit to being here on Earth, cosmic benefit to the universe. We got 2,500 people watching live. Thank you all for showing up. And 9,000 views now. So we definitely are at that global meditation number. We are doing a meditation right now. We're working together, bringing about this higher consciousness. And in the meat, though, wow. Yeah, this is a very disturbing, weird, symbolically layered. It's from Meghalaya. It's an Aryan region, and it's like, yeah, very, very bizarre. Masonic symbolism, blood symbolism, sacrifice, very, very dark stuff. They want you to be scared. They want you to be afraid. They want you to think, oh, he went to that place with that guy. He went to that island, and everybody's in on it. Nobody is clean. Nobody is good. They're all evil. I don't believe that. Anyway. Once we get disclosure, we're going to really open things up. And we were hoping we were going to get it on Tuesday, April 14th. Did that happen? Oh, dude, it was so frustrating. It was so frustrating. I was so pumped and ready. Supposed to be, what, 46 new videos that we were going to get? Nothing freaking happened. Oh, my God, it was so frustrating. So here's the disclosure news for the week. So right up until now, the only real Pentagon source for disclosure was what many people now think in our truth community is compromised, the AARO. Well, guess what? Representative Tim Burchett, he wants to eliminate the AARO and hand over everything to the Pentagon as a whole. This was on Newsweek this week. Pentagon's UFO office to be eliminated under a new bill. Representative Tim Burchett moved to dismantle the Pentagon office that investigates UFOs under legislation introduced this week. The bill, written by the Tennessee Republican, would eliminate the Defense Department's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, and redistribute its responsibilities across the Pentagon, while also promoting the creation of any future office that holds centralized authority over investigations into unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, often referred to as UFOs. So yes, in fact, I should even have bolded the redistribute its duties across the entire Pentagon. That's pretty freaking amazing. That means now that the entire Pentagon is going to be responsible for finding out the truth about UFOs, and not just this one little organization that may or may not be compromised. I mean, a lot of the people there came from the company, three-letter agency, you know, the one that starts with a C. And there's been some very strange things. I feel really bad for Lou Elizondo. We pray for him. He had a motorcycle accident. He got all smashed up. He's not usually associated among the 10 potential whistleblowers who got attacked. But yeah, he nearly died in a motorcycle crash. And he's been posting videos about that. He looked horrible on the first day. I mean, his whole face is all bloody. We pray for Lou Elizondo. I really do. Prayers for the president to counter the negative share your P.O. Box ID. I'd like to send you a package, says Charlie Winter. By all means, you guys can put that up. Give us your address again, David. I don't have it at my fingertips. I got some requests in the chat. Thank you. Yes, it is P.O. Box 3700, Nederland, N-E-D-E-R-L-A-N-D, Colorado 80466. Thank you guys very much. Send me food. If you can send me organic food that is non-perishable, like prepper type of food, that would be the best gift you could give me right now. Send me food. Send me meat that is organic, that I can reheat or rehydrate or whatever. That would be incredible. I'd love that. So Kelly Martin, maybe he is acting evil so we can stand up to take responsibility instead of giving our power away. Yes. So somebody said Aryan is a Sanskrit term originating from ethnocultural self-designation of Indian Iranians, standing in contrast to nearby. So I do understand that, but it also has very major connotations in terms of negative groups as well, who look at this Aryan bloodline. I mean, that was a German thing, many other things as well. So there's a lot of weird layered symbolism in this in the meat reference in that language. Ha-shaka-shan means in the meat. Jeez, man, whoa. Sweet, David, I will send you delicious shelf-stable food and snacks to fatten you up. Amen. You guys want to send me food? I am all in. Thank you very much. Somebody already has. Thank you, guys. And thank you for those of you who donated by PayPal. We had a $444 donation come in by PayPal, and that is another thing you can do. That way I get the whole thing, and it's awesome if you do that. I will read your names next week, I promise. Just had a very, very rough week this week with low motivation, low energy, anxiety. So wait a minute. What we're saying here is, again, this weird company-dominated group that was supposedly all disclosure, but they seem to be pipelining it through their own method, is now going to be across the entire Pentagon, and it prohibits the creation of any future office holding a centralized authority over UFOs. Dude, I would say this is very, very, very good. Nobody can pipeline it. Nobody can constrict it. Nobody can control the narrative and say, oh, it's a threat. Remember they also called it AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program? Now it's not just going to be through one organization, the AARO. Now no centralized authority can exist. The duties will be spread throughout the entire Pentagon. That is awesome, dude. That is exactly what we want. Because again, there's a lot of good people in the military. There's a lot of good people in the government. You might not even like the president. Okay. He's doing some scary stuff. He's doing some scary stuff. Maybe some of it's true. Maybe some of it's not. Definitely the Jesus thing was real. But he said he was just a doctor. He only meant to be a doctor. David, I'm not feeling it, son. My sources are telling me something entirely different. Representative Burchett this week also revealed new details from a secret UFO briefing that he had. This again is on Newsweek, a very authoritative source. Andrew Stanton putting this one out. Representative Tim Burchett, a Tennessee Republican, gave an update about being briefed on UFOs during a new interview with Stephen Smith. Newsweek reached out to a spokesperson for Burchett for comment via email. I don't think they got anything. Burchett told Smith he has been briefed by the highest levels of either our military intelligence, of any of our military intelligence, and there is one group within the alphabet agencies saying these things don't exist. You can guess which one it is, the company, but that military are people are telling us that something does exist. Whoa! I mean, that might seem like a minor point, but this is something we've been saying for so many years in the UFO community, and now you have a congressional representative from Tennessee, of all places, saying the same thing. Something does exist. It's incredible. And is this a psyop? Oops, sorry. Let's go back to that again. Something does exist. And is this a psyop or what? Are they putting this garbage out there so people will say, gosh, we need to fund these agencies more and more so we can research it more? I'm not into all that. It's not about little green men. It's not about flying saucers, sir. It's about what are they spending tens or maybe billions of your tax dollars on? If it doesn't exist, then why are they studying it? And if it does exist, as I told him the other day, you need disclosure. And again, we're trying to watch our keywords for various obvious reasons. So they're having direct conversations. He's having direct conversations with the president saying we need disclosure. If it doesn't exist, why are they studying it? Are they maybe spending billions of dollars on this Pretty freaking wild. So yes, we do need disclosure. He said he is sick of hearing the idea, this is Burchett, he's sick of hearing the idea that we can't handle the truth. He says, I'm a Christian, and they appealed to me on that level. Burchett, this stuff's kind of an anti-Christian in your beliefs. I said, no, it isn't. Genesis 1, God created the heavens and the earth, the congressman said. And then I just so happened to stumble across a really cool Bible quote where Jesus says he has other sheep, which implies they're not from earth, that he also has died for. He didn't just die for us. The crucifixion is such an amazing thing, right? The offering of your life for humanity, that he actually was willing to do that, to go through the most horrific, I mean, the crucifixion is just disgusting. It's the most disgusting, awful, crazy way to die. You're being whipped and beaten and crown of thorns put on your head, nails pounded through your hands and feet, nailed up there, bleeding out on this cross. It's just really, really like something out of a dystopian horror movie, which again, Mel Gibson made the movie, The Passion of the Christ. It's just so horrible. The whole thing is really watching him get crucified. By the time he gets up on the cross, you're like, oh, thank God. Thank God they're finally putting the nails in, man, because it's like his whole body in that movie looks like it's just raw meat before he ever even makes it up onto the cross. Probably wasn't quite as bad as, I think the real one wasn't quite as bad as that, but in the movie, it's like, oh, thank God they're finally getting to the nail part, because like it's done. You know, now he just gets to hang out and not be beaten anymore. Your body will go into a healing response where you don't feel as much pain. Ugh. Crucifixion is nasty, nasty, nasty. And then he gets pierced in the side. All this kind of, I mean, it's just awful. Anyway, imagine going through a process that extreme because of your love for humanity, because you love the planet, you love planet Earth. But what if he was doing it not just for planet Earth, but for other planets as well? That is actually implied in the book of John, chapter 10. So this is something I wanted to put out there for Representative Burchett and others, because this is very fascinating. I stumbled over it. I just so happened to find this. So here we go. John 10. Chapter 10, verse 10. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. And this sounds a lot like our lovely friends in the DS. I have come that they may have life and live it and have it to the full. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd will lay down his life for the sheep. He will protect his sheep from the wolf. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and he runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. And this again is a really nice depiction of, you know, the DS and the wolf. They say that they are the sheep, we are the wolves. Very apropos to DS type of stuff. The man runs away, says Jesus, because he is a hired hand and he cares nothing for the sheep. And we've all seen examples of that, like the politician holding the baby up as a bullet shield, you know. Well, it can feel that way. It can feel like nobody really cares about us. It can feel like we're all alone. But Jesus actually says, no, I do not abandon the sheep. I died for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. Just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Amen. That is such a great gift. The Christ sacrifice, the crucifixion. We're still near Easter, so it's appropriate. Oh my God! Jesus says in John 10:16, remember that line, John 10:16, you want to go toe-to-toe with a Bible thumper who says there's no such thing as extraterrestrials? You say, John 10:16. Got it. What is John 10:16? Let's go back to the slide. I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. Whoa, 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 whoa. Mind is officially blown. I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. Yeah, the sheep pen is planet Earth. And he says, I must bring them also. That is the galactic logos. That is extraterrestrial life. You guys love this? Are you having fun? That's right. Do not think that I have come to bring peace, he says. Well, okay, that's right, because he's got to fight against the negative. The The world calendar reset for the entire world because of Jesus. I agree. It is crazy, says Kati Koto. Yes, it's pretty wild. 40 trillion in debt, hired hands are stealing the silverware. So yes, Ross says, I've never heard that one. It's fascinating. Maybe Jesus meant Gentiles as well as Jews. No, I think it's much beyond that. It's not just one race or one religion versus another. He's literally talking about different planets. And remember, he comes and leaves in a cloud. The angelic beings are messengers. I am very convinced this is talking about extraterrestrials. And, you know, I get it. You think it's only Gentiles. But anyway, wonderful show. John 10:16. I would want you to go look at that very strongly. I think there's a really good chance that he's actually not just talking about Gentiles here. But again, you know, he wants everybody to be included. This is very open-ended. You can't really just say it's any one thing. Let's read the rest. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. Yes, that again is the galactic logos, the galactic consciousness, the galactic mind, that there is one flock and one shepherd for everybody in this galaxy. We're all interconnected together. It's wild. I love this. 10:16. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life only to take it up again. That's the ascension. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down on my own accord. I have the authority to lay it down and the authority to take it up again. This commandment I received from my Father because he's an ascended being. Again, most of us can't do this. You don't get to resurrect. If you lay down your life, you're done. So please don't do that. Please don't be stupid. Okay? It's something you never want to have to go through. And again, you know, natural is the only way to go. But anyway, Jesus is different. Jesus came in as the logoic manifestation who has this ability to actually resurrect himself because he has this ascended ability. So Tim Burchett, they're telling him, oh, it's not Christian. But again, John 10:16, I have other sheep that are not of this pen. I must bring them also. Got it. Okay. Smith asked Burchett what the ETs look like, to which he said, well, it's not Independence Day, I'll tell you that. We do know from Dr. Eric Davis that all four of the classic ones that we've heard about are actually part of this disclosure we're going to get. Greys, Nordics, reptilians, and insectoids. That kind of encompasses many of the top categories that we've heard for so long. They all apparently actually exist. I cannot wait for this disclosure to happen, man. I mean, we've been waiting for so freaking long. It's like, just bring it on. And it was supposed to be on Tuesday, right? It was supposed to be Tuesday. Representative Anna Paulina Luna sent a letter to the Pentagon. You got to get this done by then. But now Burchett, after talking to the president, introduces a bill. He just so happens to introduce a bill that gives the entire Pentagon authority to disclose where no one group bottles it off. How cool is that? Well, wasn't fast enough, dude. The disclosure deadline for Tuesday never freaking happened. It pissed me. That pissed me off, boy. I was so freaking angry. I just can't stand it anymore. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? What? Are you freaking kidding me? Ah! Representative Anna Luna says, referring to the UAP deadline, no one from the Pentagon responded until we reached out. And it appears that someone did not pass our letter to the appropriate authorities. How convenient. Nonetheless, we will be getting the requested list. We are now not waiting for a briefing at some unspecified future date. I don't know if she means we are not or we are now. She might have mistyped that. But anyway, Secretary of War is someone I consider a friend, someone who backs the president. The president has authorized the release. So whoever is trying to be cute at the Pentagon can take a hike. So we don't know if it's an unspecified future date or not. Maybe there is a specified date. She's just not telling us what it is. But I think probably it's unspecified. And again, maybe what they want to do is get this war dealt with first, get the peace treaty first, after the scare event, then we get disclosure. That might be better timing. Right now, we still got to keep the pressure on. You don't want to go off in this other direction just yet, because you can't undo this disclosure. It's only going to happen once. You better do it at the right time. So I kind of get it. I kind of get it. Okay. Yeah. You don't want to just haphazardly do this. It's got to be done in the politically expedient moment that matters. So once again, Newsweek covered this. And here it is. She criticized the Pentagon after the Tuesday deadline, handing over dozens of videos to document apparent encounters with UAPs had passed. The March letter signed by her requested over 45 videos, so yes, 46, that reportedly include spherical, cigar-shaped, and tic-tac-like objects recorded by U.S. military platforms over war zones, oceans, and restricted airspace, with incidents said to include activity near Iran, of all places, Syria, U.S. bases and airports, as well as a 2023 incident over Lake Huron. So it's 46 videos. I mean, and we know they're targeting certain things to disclose certain pieces of information, one of which, the Huron one, does look like the traditional Christian flying saucer. The delivery was requested as soon as possible, but no later than April 14th. And then, here's another source, Bro Bible. Tuesday afternoon, she slammed them for letting the deadline pass without releasing the videos that she had requested. She says, quote, "No one from the Pentagon responded until we reached out. It appears someone did not pass the letter to the appropriate authorities. How convenient." We read that. Nonetheless, we will be getting the requested list. We are not waiting for a briefing at some unspecified future date. Hopefully that's true. Hopefully they did get a date. The Secretary of War, someone I consider a friend, backs the President. The President has authorized the release. Whoever's trying to be cute can take a hike. We read all that already. Then we have Brit Brief, another site that covered this. The Pentagon's failure, oh, that's a tough word, to meet the deadline has sparked widespread fury online. Many citizens and observers insisting the public deserves full transparency. One user commented, "The American people want all of this to be declassified. There's zero reason for any of it to be kept secret other than to justify spending money on an annual budget for a bunch of rogue federal employees." Another echoed skepticism, spelled Britishly, saying, "Yep, sounds like normal government protocol. What letter?" Then we also had ZH cover this as well, doing a very great job there. From Modernity is the website they got it from. They do a lot of stuff there. Representative Anna Luna pressed him to deliver these 46 specific clips by April 14th. And whistleblowers had told her task force that the Pentagon's AARO already possessed the record, so it's not like it's difficult to get them. I mean, how hard is it to find this file, these videos, if they already have them? It's not like they're missing or anything. It's not like they have to dig it up. Yet as the deadline passed with no delivery, critics point to a pattern of delay that has long fueled public distrust. The requested material includes spherical objects over Afghanistan, cigar-shaped craft, tic-tacs, transmedium vehicles moving between air and water, and multiple formations near U.S. military assets, submarines, and sensitive airspace. So yes, we know that what they're doing here is they're targeting how they want to get stuff that teaches us different aspects of the UFO reality that they want us to know about. And so spherical objects would be like a drone kind of thing. Cigar-shaped craft is like your mothership. Tic-tacs would be more scout craft that look like eggs. Transmedium vehicles, which we couldn't do. We can't fly things through the water at, Mach 20 or whatever the hell it is. It's crazy. Multiple formations captured near U.S. military. That's them protecting us from nuclear disaster. So there's a lot of things to unpack here. This is coming. It is heading our way. It's really exciting. On April 15th, with the deadline missed, the War Department moved to address growing pressure. U.S. official told Liberation Times AARO is now actively working with the White House and other agencies to prepare previously unseen UAP records for public release. Well, that's good. They're about to be fired. I think Burchett did that on orders from the president. That's my guess. Now the whole Pentagon's going to be responsible. The Department of War's AARO is working in close coordination with the White House and across federal agencies to consolidate existing UAP record collections and facilitate the expeditious release of never-before-seen UAP information. Thank God. Thank God. I'm so ready for this to happen, man. I'm so ready. The official added that since the office was established, AARO has made progress to make UAP information available and transfer records to the National Archives. See, now they're defending themselves because they know they're about to get shut down. And again, I bet you the president's responsible for that. He had to have it be an introduction in Congress. Can't do it by executive order. Well, you could try, but then everybody'd be mad. We welcome the president's initiative to supercharge these efforts and make more UAP information available to the public as soon as possible. While AARO's latest statement signals forward momentum and coordination at the White House level, skeptics note that similar promises have been made before without full delivery. The public, long accustomed to partial disclosure and redacted reports, is watching closely to see whether this round produces genuine transparency or another round of managed narrative. Yeah, it's so frustrating. Like, dude, we got to get disclosure. We got to get this thing going. We are ready. We are pumped. We want the truth. Well, here it comes. He actually, at Turning Point, said disclosure is coming very soon. There it is. We found many very interesting documents, I must say, and the first releases will begin very, very soon. So here's the quote, and I actually I gave you the link to what we just saw, and then I actually transcribed this myself, so I didn't have to quote from anybody else. I just did it myself. This is the exact words that he said, because when it gets this specific, I want to, if there's anything in between the lines, I want to see it. So here we go. If you remember, I'm not going to do his voice because he hates that. So we're not going to do a impersonation of the president. That would not be good. Maybe I should try it anyway if I don't really care anymore because he's getting himself in trouble. No. If you remember, I recently directed the director of war. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, I had to try a little bit. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files related to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. I better stop. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. Sorry, Mr. President. Please forgive me. Had to do my own little, just a taste. Can I please get a taste, just a little taste of the accent? Are we still going to get some kind of love if I do that? Maybe not. Dude, don't do it. You suck. Anyway, yes, it's not perfect because I haven't really practiced it that much. But anyway, just having a little fun, nothing serious. Is this Bernie Sanders or the Godfather? Definitely a Bernie, not a Trump. Ha ha ha. Sounded like Bernie. Yeah, I guess there was definitely a little too much of the New York in there. But anyway, I've never really practiced it because I honestly didn't want to because I don't want to be tempted to use it. Anyway, it's just fun stuff. Anyway, here we go. So he recently directed the Director of War, how good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way, to begin releasing government files related to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. Okay. And I think this is a good crowd because you people, you are really into that. I don't know if I am. He loves to do that. He loves to say he's not really sure if he's into it. Plausible deniability, that's a very common thing, right? So I am pleased to report today, and again he goes off on a side tangent. I thought I would save it for this crowd because you are a little bit out there, you know, a little bit. So second time he's jabbing at him. You're really into that. You're a little bit out there. So funny. I don't know if I am, but you are. That the process is well underway. Well, again, 46, how many hours does it take to find 46 videos if you already have them? But okay. Probably going to happen at the right time. What do you mean, you people? I guess Ross Feinstein, thank you. He says he's definitely out there. That's funny. Anyway, so yeah, this is very cool. The process is well underway. They're going to release it, and Turning Point people are a little bit out there. Okay, this is awesome. And we found many very interesting documents, I must say, and the first releases will begin very, very soon. Well, that would imply like this coming week. Let's hope so. I'm tired of waiting, man. We need disclosure. We need it now. So you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. You'll figure it out. Let me know. Let me know. But we've had a lot of questions. It's something that really captivates the mind. There is no question about it. So again, he doesn't want to be smeared. He doesn't want people saying, oh, he's a UFO nut. He's into it. He says, I'm not really into it, but you guys are all kind of crazy, so you're into it. But you're going to find out if the phenomena is correct, and it really captivates the mind. This is very much leading information, telling you, yes, there's going to be some great stuff. We've already heard other people saying they've seen what's in there. It is incredible, and it's going to change the world. So we are very excited about disclosure. And Representative Luna, again, posts stuff about the book of Enoch and these Christian UFO pictures that we've already seen before. Caucus co-chair Representative Anna Paulina Luna said, just read the book of Enoch covering Nephilim And according to some UFO interdimensional creatures, and we did read that just a few weeks ago on her recommendation. There's a lot of interesting things in there. Seraphim, cherubim, powers, principalities, dark entities, light entities, ascended heavenly worlds with crystal buildings, the solar flash, Nephilim on earth that are, you know, demonic, shape-shifting, blood-drinking. I didn't get into all that stuff, but that's in there too. The Book of Enoch is wild. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. We read that before, so you know what we're talking about. She also uploaded a special photo 5 minutes later, the famous 15th century Italian Renaissance painting, Circular Tondo, commonly known as Madonna of the UFO. You remember that. I showed you all that. There's a bunch of them. So yes, everybody else is catching up to my research. Thank you guys for honoring that. Appreciate that very much. And so the photo features the Virgin Mary kneeling in prayer, dressed in a blue cloak over a red gown, looking down at the infant Jesus, while UFOs can be seen in the background. The people are almost ready for the truth. And this was just something that showed up this morning. So this is all happening in real time. Disclosure is happening. The wheels are falling off the train of disclosure. And so read the Book of Enoch, she says, and then she posts this picture. So that is part of what's going on. Disclosure is part of what's going on. At the same time, we have reached a crisis point in the news, in the world news as well. It's all kind of reaching its apex. So we're going to round up some of the news for the week. And I'm just going to run through this pretty quick, show you some of the things that were going on. We don't have time to read all this exactly, but we're just going to talk about it. The U.S. actually created its own naval blockade to block any ships from entering, instructing the U.S. Navy to seek and interdict any vessel that comes and tries to pay tolls. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. Why? Because if Iran got money, they're going to be buying weapons. So this is where he actually says this. Effective immediately, we will begin blockading any and all ships trying to enter. I've instructed our Navy to seek and interdict any vessel that has a paid toll. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved in it. They will not be allowed to profit off of this illegal act of extortion. They want money. More importantly, they want nukes. They're fully locked and loaded if we need to, an appropriate moment to finish them off, he says. There it is up close if you want to pause and read it. Again, I didn't know how much time we'd have when we got to this point, so we can't really read all this stuff. Britain did not want to participate. They said that right here. We will not be involved, but they're working to put together a wide coalition to protect the freedom of navigation. So this, again, is really crazy because they're actually saying they don't want there to be a blockade. Well, that's kind of like another war against, NATO versus NATO kind of stuff, really scary. Then we find out it's going to begin on Monday the 13th, which it did. A CENTCOM announcing that a blockade of all maritime traffic will begin on April 13th at 10 a.m. Australia then, mate, we don't want anything to do with this shite, mate. We're not considering joining the U.S. naval blockade. The best way to get lasting peace and ensure ultimately the gas prices come down is a negotiated settlement. Yeah, because they don't want the U.S. in control. But before, when Iran was doing it, they were against it because, of course, it's actually driving up oil prices. So they're against it now that the U.S. is doing it as well. But again, the point is we don't want them getting all this money. And Canada is saying there could be a World War III, Sunday, the April 12th. The world has changed. We have to get ready for large-scale conflicts. That's scary as hell. More of the same kind of negativity. Then on Sunday, we also have them wanting to jump in again. Oh, my God. They're reporting they're gearing up for renewed conflict. This was right at the end of last week. In the middle of the ceasefire, they say they want to keep fighting. And that's frustrating as heck. Sunday, we also had him blasting the Pope. This also, along with the Christian thing that he posted, got people really mad. He said, if I wasn't in the White House, he wouldn't be in the Vatican. He's an American. Get his act together. Use common sense. Stop catering to the radicals. And focus on being a great pope, not a politician. Yeah, so people really got mad about this too. You can read the whole thing if you want to. I like his brother Louis a lot better. If I wasn't in the White House, he wouldn't be there. He should get his act together. Yeah, a lot of people got really upset by this. And then right after this is where he posts this picture. Oh my goodness. So not only is he going to diss the Pope, but then he immediately posts a picture of himself as the Christ. Holy crap. At least a Christ, like an ascended being, perhaps. I want my stocks to stabilize so I can cash out. I'm done with the stock market, more silver stacking. It says, who was that? That was Sherry Walker. Anyway, here we are again, looking at this again, and then what the heck is up in the sky above? Clearly, first of all, he's got a ball of light in his hand. The guy is like dying on a hospital bed, but he's being healed. You got a nurse on the right, but you got a woman in prayer on the left who looks like the same woman, actually. AI often does that, doesn't it? And then this is definitely not just a regular doctor. If regular doctors could do this, I would love to go to the hospital. Like, yeah, sign me up, man. Let's go. But then what the heck is all this about? And then the alliance is saying it's the spirit of the Antichrist. Here's an alliance source, the general, and it says, breaking, Marjorie Taylor Greene says that the president embodies the spirit of the Antichrist after posing a picture depicting himself as Jesus Christ. I mean, this really honestly freaked me out. It was like, wait a minute. The general is an alliance source, and now they're openly calling this out. Is this like bait? Are they trying to find out who's going to take the bait? Who's going to want to, I don't know. It's just crazy. So that really shook me, and I'm like, wait a minute. Is the alliance and the president having some kind of falling out? I don't know. Another source points out that there is a winged demon in there. This is Shadow, April 13th. The original image and the one posted yesterday by the president have one big difference, which is that a winged demon was added in place of a soldier. Oh my goodness. Why did they say this? Why would they actually make that comment? And again, the question that I have is, does this represent some type of schism going on between them? And I don't know the answer. I don't think so, because of what happened just very recently. But again, it's like the Statue of Liberty's torches. It's the crown. There's a Statue of Liberty component to this. Even you can look at the area of the face of the Statue of Liberty, which is like his chest. You can see it's almost like the face of the Statue of Liberty. So yeah, there's something in here about the idea that this represents the Statue of Liberty is like Isis, representing the female aspect of Lucifer. And this is what we've really been dealing with the whole time. So again, from the top, there it is. And there's a very much of a Statue of Liberty vibe here. And you see the Statue of Liberty's over there on the right as well. So that definitely is related to Statue of Liberty. It's not a regular demon. It's actually got the face. You can see even like the chest looks like a face. It's got the crown there. And you got the torch with the hand on both sides. But it also could be demonic with the horns and the wings. So this did actually appear on Truth Social. I scrambled to take a picture. I said, man, there's no way this is staying up. And sure enough, it got taken down. That was the link before it went down. Had almost 13,000 comments, dude. And they were pissed. People were pissed. And in fact, after a certain point, it wouldn't even load the comments anymore. But so many people just really angry. I'm like, why in the world would he do this? A spontaneous, unforced error? You're going to make a mistake on something like that? I don't get it, man. But here it was. So my accent for him is kind of like somewhere in between that and Bernie Sanders. Anyway, this actually did appear, and you can see right there on the bottom left, 12.5 thousand comments. Unbelievable. And 3,300 retweets, 13,000 likes. So a lot of people liked it too. But wow, this is really, really bizarre, isn't it? I mean, just like, yeah. So Kelly Martin, I'm glad you're questioning this, David. He is just a man. The power is within each of us, not a supreme leader. I agree completely. And it's very, very bizarre. The Statue of Liberty was shielding her eyes. I see the statue with a child in her arms. We're going to look at that a little bit more. Anyway, let's go back to that. Is there a child in the arms? Let's see. Well, you're going to see a little bit more of it anyway. But yes, there it is. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if I really see that. But anyway, it could be that this image is like there's a child in the arms. I don't know. In which case, you're looking at the possibility of it including sacrificial type of stuff. I don't know. Can you share an email address as well? Go to my website, divinecosmos.com, and you can click on a form there, contact us, and you can get me an email. It will work. But anyway, Look, I'm not trying to defend this. It's very, very bizarre. I mean, this is just incredibly bizarre. Did actually appear on his website. 13,000 comments, as I said. And then there were other alterations made to an original image. This is another fascinating thing that came out. The original image is different in several respects. So let's go through those now, because this is very, very interesting. First of all, he had a small smile in the original that was made by AI that they eliminated in the version that he put on Truth Social. You can actually see that when you look at it up close and you zoom in. Everything is a little bit blurrier in the Truth Social version. It's a little bit cleaner. They probably blurred it out to make it look less like AI slop, as people call it. You can clearly see when you put them together side by side, his face is different. It's higher resolution. The nose is a little bit shorter from the top to the bottom. The face is a little bit wider and not as long. And there is a little bit more of a smile, a little bit of a smirk on his mouth that you don't see on the other one. Now, that would have had to have been done by photo manipulation. This is not something that just happened. This is something that had to have been done through image processing. So the image was clearly modified on purpose, and that includes the smile being different. You have blurring of detail on the Statue of Liberty as well. Very interestingly enough, you can see that here, that in the original Statue of Liberty, there's a very clear face with a crown around it that looks similar to the one. And in fact, you look at her crown and you see there's the same 3 spikes up on the top of the face. Look at that crown up close on the right there. There's those 3 spikes, the other 2 off to the side. They actually straightened it out on the left, didn't they? The spikes look more normal on the left than they do on the right. But the 3 spikes on the top of the head on the left is the same as what we saw right there, isn't it? Yep, there it is. The same thing. 3 spikes on the top, the torch, and the face. So they actually did this stuff. So there, his smile was removed. Again, so the detail on the statue is much less specific. The horns have been changed. But again, you can see the demon is the horns of the Statue of Liberty. This makes it really interesting. The time frame is really screwy. Thank you for your clarification. We all love you. Roger Zabarak, we're up to 27, almost 2,800 people. We are breaking our records here once again. Thank you guys all for showing up, and you're here at a great time for the show. We're getting into the real meat of what our topic is about. Moses and the Knights of Nay had that helmet, says Rob Hipsky. This is just finding the difference game. Well, there are differences. That's important, yeah. And then you look at the face, and again, she has that funny hood, almost like she's wearing a baseball cap or something. That's all been obscured on the one on the left. But again, very interesting. And then also, there's blurring of detail on the faces of the soldiers as well. The original soldier, he's clearly got eyes and a face. And then the other guy, you know, he's clearly got a hat that's defined on the right there, more like a swamp hat. And then in the other one, it looks more like a helmet. This has been heavily altered. The one on the left has been heavily altered. Statue of Liberty overlain. What the heck is going on here? And then as everybody goes crazy, he says, oh, I was just posing as a doctor. Well, yeah, okay. There's a woman with a nurse's outfit on the right, stethoscope, but then on the left is a woman praying. And doctors don't just, you know, have light coming out of their hands and then heal somebody. Now, did some power group slip this past him? Is that possible? Is it possible that the so-called demonic aspect of it was not something that he really noticed? You know, it's possible. Leanne Boudreau, the top middle character looks like a soldier wearing armor in the artwork. Thank you for this wonderful presentation today, David. Sensing Uganda may be tuning in. Okay, interesting. Thank you for the donation, by the way. Let's see how we're doing on donation volume. Oh, we're doing really good. A total of $1,500 gross volume so far. That's great. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate that. Keep them coming, man. It's going to buy me more meat, so I have some fat on my face. And I love it. So anyway, thank you guys. So is there a power group that actually, you know, he didn't look at it carefully enough and they wanted to hide this in there, hide it out in the open? Was he distracted? Maybe. I don't know. Why in the world would you create an unforced, damaging mistake? Because again, this created considerable damage to the Christian base. Or, and again, I don't know the answer. We got to remember there is no solid answer to these questions yet. I'm just asking them. If you want to think that he did it on purpose, then the question would be why? Because it created so much political damage. Maybe he doesn't care. But like, what's up with the Statue of Liberty's crown being on the top of that thing? What's up with the torches being the wings of the demon? Why would the Alliance release that, tell you that it's a demon? Why would they suggest he's the Antichrist, especially when he's been shot in the ear? And I have a very weird sympathetic wound here. I also got a tent pole through my ear, a pole that you used to set up a tent, nice circular hole. That's one of the weird things that he and I have in common. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If I got the same mark that he does, am I part of this Antichrist thing too? And that caused me to really have to question everything. Like, what is going on here? Is he the Antichrist? Is this what, I mean, then what does that make me? I wrote books prophesizing that the Alliance is a good thing. They're going to do good things for the planet. Well, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I do believe that they're okay, and I believe we're fine, and I'll show you why in a little while. But anyway, this did create considerable damage to the base. The question might be, did he deliberately let this go for the greater good? And I want you to tell me now in the comments what you think is going on, because I'm not really sure. I mean, I have my suspicions, but, you know, I don't really know. So anyway, tell me in the comments what you think is going on. Rob Hitsky says it's all subjective. I just got here, but JFK Jr.'s face is the one that he is healing in the new meme. Is that really JFK? I don't know about that. We can go back and look again. Let's just go ahead and grab it here. I don't really think so, but we'll pop it in there anyway. So you can take a look for yourself. Tell me what you think. All right. I mean, nah, I mean, some people think it's Uncle Sam. Some people, I don't really see JFK Jr. there. It just looks like kind of a generic old guy with a beard, goatee. But anyway, tell me in the comments what you think is going on. What does anybody else have to say? Oh, Cindy J donated $100. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Great show today. Thank you for clarifying some things. I've been watching Edgar Casey videos on YouTube. Uh-oh. None of those seem to be on the mark. Love your opinion on his predictions for 26 and 27. It's probably all fake. I don't think there's any specific Casey predictions for those years. You got to get the right, you got to look it up in the original material, or else it's just not going to be really relevant or specific at all. So I wouldn't be too inclined to think that Edgar Casey had any prophecies like that. Anyway, I'm just being honest. That's my perception, but you know, you take it for what you want. David Deere, how did you get a tent post in your ear? Somebody threw it at me. My friend threw it at me while I was trying to wipe dust off of his hammock. I was going to lie down in the hammock. We were going to set up a tent in his backyard. He said, go away, I don't want your help, because I wasn't doing a very good job setting up the tent. I laid down in the hammock, and then he said, get off your lazy ass and come here and help me. I get out of the hammock, I'm wiping needles, you know, and leaves off, and then he throws it at me because I was taking too long to come back and help him, and it hit me right in the ear. I'm running around screaming. I got blood coming out. I got it in my hand. The dog is barking. It was just horrific. And that was something that really, really traumatized me greatly. Pray for him. He wants to help the world. Being guided by superior good beings. Don't create division. So anyway, he is the father of our nation, is co-partnering with Father God to heal our nation. He's the master of trolling. That's what I don't know if I'd go that far. Some people say it looks like you know who. It's possible, but then again, that's a keyword. We really don't want those keywords coming in. Please don't use those. Yeah, reforms on psychedelic drugs, that did happen. Anyway, you guys, you know, we have different opinions about what's going on here, what really is happening. He is pointing out that the war is between good and evil. That could be. Again, there are some people who think it's a comm. There's some people who think it was done on purpose. It looks like, some people think it does look like the guy from the island. That is possible. It is possible that he's trying to heal that problem that we have. I mean, it's not a direct linkage, but it is, you know, a little bit. Looks a little bit like Island Guy. Not too much, though. Not enough that I would say it's definitely him. And again, this was an original image. But also notice, too, that the fighter jet on the right has what looks like winged demons behind it. I mean, what are those? They look like little flying demons or something. So that's pretty crazy, too. You know, so there's a lot of weird symbolism in here. And the one on the bottom, below the fighter jet in particular, really looks like a winged demon. So this is very, very strange. But you know, again, when I first saw this, I said, oh my God, there is no way I'm ever going to talk about this in a show. It's too crazy. It's too creepy. It's too weird. I said, nope, the show must go on. We're doing this. We're getting it done. Okay, we're going to blow through some more of the news pretty quick. Not going to read all the text, but I just want to get a feel for the week. Monday 13th, they're enforcing a new blockade, and any fast attack ships will be immediately eliminated. This, again, is to stop them from making money. I think that's all that was about. Then we have a little journey for the good of the world, where this is what he's describing it as. And he said he had to for the good of the world. I believe that's true. I believe that he's actually fighting something. I can't believe that this is just done to appease this one particular entity. That a lot of people are so mad, they're like, oh my God, that's all it is. No, it could be more than that. And he says there's a much bigger subject than Iran going on. That's a very leading clue. If they're not going to be with us on Iran, they're not going to be with us on a much bigger subject than Iran. What is that? Well, I think we can guess. It's the DS and all that stuff. Then the small country hits 200 different sites in Lebanon, and then immediately after that, they go for the peace talks, thank God. But this was crazy in the past 24 hours, and they were in on the ground, so that's an incredible thing. Scary as hell. But then, thank God, the peace treaties begin, and they're going to be not doing anything for a week until the end of a ceasefire of 2 weeks between the U.S. and Iran. Thank God. And then the ceasefire got extended. This was another really positive thing, considering extending it by another 2 weeks more to allow more time to negotiate. So this is not somebody who wants to blow everything up. So yeah, you might not like the post, you might not like the image, but what really matters is, are people dying or not? We got a 2-week cessation. Thank God that's happening. This is kind of frustrating. There could be a pivot to Cuba, possible military operation inside Cuba if he gives the order. Man, we're going to have to go through this again. Let's hope this one is fast like Venezuela was. Then possibility of things getting really scary with the Chinese collusion. Two Chinese banks received letters from our treasury. If we can prove there is money flowing through your accounts, we will put on secondary sanctions. That's really scary. That sounds like World War III. And remember that they were also threatened that any country that gives them weapons is going to get a 50% tariff. So, you know, it's possible that that was happening and it got cut off. A lot of people, you know, my father, for example, doesn't like Live Nation, Ticketmaster. They were found guilty of a monopoly, monopolizing the tickets of major concerts in America. That is true. They got found guilty. So that's going to hopefully make it less expensive to go see a concert now with major acts. And then we had somebody get turned around in the strait. This was another scary thing, redirecting an Iranian flag cargo vessel trying to break through the blockade. You know, there's a lot of interesting things here going on. I'm reading your comments here. Just let's see if there's anything that's going on here. We are all getting sucked into his drama. That's our lesson, not to get sucked into somebody else's drama. The whole thing has a missing comma. Cease, comma, fire. That's funny. So anyway, prophecy last year alerted to us that the statue will show a misconception, meaning it will fall and be destroyed. I've never heard that prophecy, but anyway, okay. It's the exact same figure from the last poll. The figure comes back to fight Baal worshippers. Look it up. Okay, interesting. TGE, the last poll. Okay. Gosh darn it, boy, you mean to tell me the Bible calls us sheep and aliens are sheep too? And now he's the Dr. Jesus? I have had it. That was from Prince Royal. Thank you, Prince Royal. All right. 10 vessels have been turned around, 0 ships breaking the blockade since the Monday imposition. Then on Wednesday, again, we have more blessings from the wonders of AI. It could create novel pathogens. This is Sam Altman, the head of OpenAI, ChatGPT. It's no longer a theoretical thing. There could be world-shaking cyber attacks this year. Well, again, the people in the swamp very much probably want this. That's scary as hell, and maybe it's kind of like hide the truth out in the open. Oh yeah, you know, you could engineer your own stuff. That's never happened before. Of course that never happened before. It's just that theoretically they could do it later on. Yeah, I don't know. Then we have Miriam donating $40 million to the Republicans. And this is going to be interesting in light of what we're going to see a little bit later on. because apparently these people, you know, she's one of the ones that they're saying they can pull the purse strings and they can try to control him this way. So thank God the peace talks have begun. This is what he said, trying to get a little breathing room. They haven't spoken in 34 years. It's going to happen tomorrow. This is nice. And then it did start to happen. This was another scary one. That's why the blockade needs to end. They only have 6 weeks of jet fuel left in Europe. That is scary as hell, because we really don't want them to run out. Only 6 weeks of fuel left. At the same time, Australia is under attack, fuel fire at the worst possible moment. Major fire erupting at the Viva Energy refinery in Geelong, Australia, producing 50% of their Victoria's oil, 10% of Australia's overall fuel needs. What is going on? Why is this happening? Probably, again, it's somebody is trying to engineer deliberate social collapse in Western countries. They've already got a supply chain issue, and then they just so happen to get a fire as well. Yeah, I'm not buying it, man. Then we have the defense secretary warning about firing on these ships, saying threatening to shoot missiles and drones is not control. That's piracy and terrorism. They don't control the strait anymore. So again, let's pray to God this doesn't go anywhere and turn into more war, because the ceasefire was violated, yet the Americans showed restraint, thank God. Thursday, he says nothing is going to be foisted upon us. Not a single thing has been foisted upon the United States by any other country. He makes his own decisions about the interests of this country. It is not anybody else. As you see here in the second line, many people are accusing him of being controlled by somebody else. They say no. We want this for ourselves. So that's interesting. Then we have a 10-day ceasefire that was announced on Thursday. This, again, took the pressure off, thank God. And he invites both the leader of one country and the Lebanon president to the White House for peace talks after announcing a 10-day ceasefire beginning the day at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is great. And that's, again, between Israel and Lebanon. And so the two countries will meet for the first time. And it's been my honor to solve 9 wars around the world. This will be my 10th. Let's get it done. I hope that's true. And again, all of our lives are at stake here, so we want to know what's going on. And then, in addition to the statement just issued, I will be inviting the Prime Minister and the President to the White House, the first meaningful talk since 1983. Both sides want to see peace, and I believe that will happen quickly. So yeah, even if he's posting these memes that appear very negative in some ways, what the hell is the demon thing? The real results are in the peace and the negotiations. I think that's what we're really getting to here, which is great. So again, 10-day ceasefire announced. There it was. And so he says, no, I'm not fighting the Pope. Well, he kind of was. But anyway, I say they can't have a nuclear weapon. I believe we have a right to disagree. He says the war is going to be won shortly. This was on the same day. We're in there for 2 months. We're going to have victory very shortly. Let's hope that's true. So anyway, are we seeing the completion of another vast kayfabe here? Is there really a rift between the alliance and the president? I mean, there could be, because again, calling him out as the anti-you-know-what, like, wow. And then that just really freaked me out. And like, well, if they're saying it, then has this other country gotten control of him? And a lot of times they imply that it has, or at least they want you to be worried about it. But you're going to see that's not the case. That is not the case. There was a big pushback that I find quite fascinating that just happened. So it might have actually all been yet another weird kayfabe. We certainly know that's been done before. Let's review the posts from General and Shadow, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I do now think that the schism was manufactured. It wasn't ever actually real. And I wondered if this was bait. I wondered if they were trying to bait you in, commenters like me, to see if you'll get on the hate bandwagon and say, oh yeah, he's evil, he's the Antichrist, he's compromised, all this kind of stuff. And you know, again, 4 very prominent influencers all got attacked. You'll see that in a minute here. So again, starting most recently, a flurry of great sounding posts came out just on Friday, right before the end of the week, boosted the stock market, which was great for our economy. One of the elements being negotiated in the 3-page peace plan between U.S. and Iran is that we would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for them to give up their stockpile of uranium. $20 billion cash for uranium deal. That sounds pretty darn good. I mean, if they, because they wanted money, right? They were saying you got to pay for reparations, got to help us rebuild. Well, you got to give them credit as the deal maker. Give them money that we don't pay for. It was already theirs. It's just been frozen. Give it back to them. You pay them. They can rebuild from the war. All you got to do is give up your uranium, which we really don't want them to have anyway. I don't think we do we? I don't think so. Hell no. Hell no. So that really does make sense to me. Like, okay, this is a good thing. Give them some reparation money that's compassionate. You're not trying to totally destroy their civilization. You're not the Antichrist. You want to help them rebuild, feed people. Yep, 5D chess, 10 moves deep. James is cool, says that. I think it's probably true. Anyway, maybe it's him being a doctor, healing JFK's America, saving the children coming out of tunnels into the shining light of the surface sunshine. It's about the children. Stay focused, says Kalawi Waoka. Might be right. 2 hours, 17 minutes. You guys are looking at the time. Yeah, I was just noticing the time too. Thank you for that. Marjorie does not seem like she is one of the patriots. She seems like she went to the other side. Well, whatever. I don't want to smear anybody. So many people are in the chat today. That's right. We got 2,800 people watching. This is bigger than the last 2 weeks. Our enemies are trying to hijack our emotions to get access to our frequency. So again, the proof in the pudding is in the eating. These are results, man. We're looking at them releasing their uranium in exchange for a huge load of money, which be the offer you can't refuse. I mean, yeah, that's you're giving up the idea that you're going to enrich uranium and make energy out of it, but you're getting $20 billion. I mean, that for a country like Iran, that's like the equivalent of 200 billion for us or more, because they have such a lower economy in terms of what the dollar can buy. So this is huge, 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 huge amount of money for them. So I think it's good, actually. This shows, again, a principle that's more in keeping with the positive aspects of Christianity. You know, forgiveness, giving them some money back. I'm totally down with this, okay? Just being honest. Then the finance minister, this was just today, actually said that the strait is completely open for the rest of the ceasefire. The passage for all commercial vessels is declared completely open. And so they're not going to do anything else. They're not going to shoot at anybody again, we hope. And so that's good, very good. And so that's setting the stage for the peace to happen, setting the stage for the blockade not to have to happen. Then we find out they're going to be using excavators to extract the dust in partnership with Iran. That's good. So they're going to have to dig it out because it's all buried underground. So that's what's going to be happening. And then this is where things really got wild. This was on Friday. Holy crap. Wait till you read the whole thing, you guys. The USA will get nuclear dust created by our great B-2 bombers. No money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form. Well, yeah, but they're going to get their own money back, which is huge. And we get the nuclear dust, which we can then turn around and actually sell for money. Maybe if we made peace with, the Russia-Ukraine thing, we'd sell it to Russia, whatever. But the point is, because they apparently need it, but both sides win. They get the money back. We don't have to pay for it. No money exchanges hands. They're just getting money back they already had. And it says this deal is in no way subject to Lebanon either, but the USA will separately work with them and deal with the Hezbollah situation in an appropriate manner. Why did he say Bula? Is that Baal? Is that what he's implying there? Is that a com? It could be. Bool, B-O-O-L, Baal, B-A-A-L. I don't know. Possible. But then, whoa, look at the next 2 lines. 3 lines. This is crazy. This is frickin' crazy. All the people who think he's been bought out, all the people who think he's been controlled, all the people who, if the alliance is trying to throw him under the bus or say he's not anybody good, he's been compromised, he's been controlled, he's a puppet. Where the hell did this come from? This country will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. That is a very definitive statement. Like, or what? Or they are prohibited from doing so by the USA. Enough is enough. Now, David, I gotta say, son, a lot of the stuff you talk is really freaking crazy. It's flipping crazy. You really got a point on this one, son. The proof in the pudding is in the eating, And he actually said, you will not be doing this any longer. Enough is enough. He said that they are prohibiting them from doing it. That is freaking outrageous, boy. I have had it. Okay, wow. I mean, this is your best show in weeks. Love you, says Trisha Marr. Yeah, I decided we really got to get back into the alliance stuff. It's time. Got to engage. Why in the world did he post this thing of himself as Jesus and then deny it? Why in the world does it have the demon in it? Why did they point that out? It scares the heck out of me. They're calling him the Antichrist. Marjorie at least did. Is that true? Well, no. I mean, look at this. It couldn't be. He's stopping war from happening. He's stopping the violence from happening. He's actually saying you're prohibited from doing it. And remember, they said we saved them for last. That was in the posts. You know what I'm talking about. This very special thing that I got right here. Okay. Saving them for last. Is that what we're actually seeing? It could be. Is this still a Law of One show or is it a 17 show? Well, it's both. But again, this week, the news is so heavy on this one subject that I wanted it to be that. We are going to have some Law of One type of content coming up here. So just hang in there. If that's what you're looking for, you'll get it. Okay, anyway, they are prohibited from doing so. Well, prohibited is a very intense term, and it's in all capital letters, you guys. I mean, like, prohibited? They're prohibited from doing it by this country, by our country. You realize how heavy that is? You realize the strength of that wording? They will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the USA. This is a massive, massive geopolitical event. And even if it's not Law of One, it is very much worthy of our consideration. This is not the kind of thing that you think he would be doing if he were the Antichrist. To be honest with you, you got to look at the results. Forget about speculation. We don't know why he did it. This is not something the Antichrist would want you to have everybody dying. They would want as much bombing as possible. They would want people being blown up. They would want death, dismemberment, organs all over the ground, scrambled eggs everywhere, just horrible stuff. That is not what this is. It's just the opposite. Give him some credit. You know, I mean, maybe this will make up for the fact that I tried to do a really bad accent version of his voice. I don't think you're supposed to do that. Oh my God. Anyway. Wow, 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 wow. One of the most significant things I've ever seen. Prohibited? What do you mean prohibited? What are you going to do if they do it? How are you going to stop them? Are you going to actually militarily? That's what it implies. You're going to militarily stop them? You're going to turn on them? They're not allowed to do it anymore? What prohibited? I mean, that just turns everything upside down, turns everything upside down in a very, very weird way. And again, they will not be doing this any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the USA. Unbelievable. Thank you, King, for the donation. And then, so now we're going to see some other stuff that came out. This was all on Friday the 17th and then the 18th. So we'll start with the one on the top. Again, from the Alliance source directly. They are now in a panic mode, asking them for clarification about what the hell do you mean saying we're prohibited from bombing? Yeah, are you going to blow us up? Are you going to attack us? What are you going to do? Are you going to do sanctions? Are you going to cut off money? Going to cut off weapons? Are you going to actually block us? Are you going to shoot us down? What the hell are you talking about? This is freaking insane. Yeah, it's finally like somebody who's been beaten and beaten and beaten standing up. And again, my own friend, Jude, who I think he's on here as Deep Spice if he ever shows up, but he wants us to feel good about this country. You know, he's Jewish himself, and so like, yeah, I feel the same. Like I'm not anti, I'm pro-Semitic. I love the Jewish people, and I love everything about what's going on in that context. But at the same time, we don't love this warlike stuff. We don't love violating ceasefires. We don't love bombing 200 places. We don't love people dying. We want to see that stop, and that includes actual Jews, like my friend Jude. So, you know, he has the authority to speak on it because he's actually very much a part of that whole tribe. So, yeah, we want to see this get better. And not everybody is just going to fall in line and do everything that they want and say that it's all great and everything's wonderful. So, yeah, this is actually a positive. We want them to get everybody back on their side. There's a quote in the Bible, every nation shall rise up against Israel. And that's scary as hell for them. You know, they don't want to be attacked by everybody. They don't want to be subject to anti-Semitic attacks. I mean, there's people being attacked and killed just for being Jewish. That's insane. Don't ever do that. That's just ridiculous. You can't blame the people for a very small group of leadership that many of the people are not wanting to be doing these terrible things. So this is kind of amazing. Like, they're saying, wait a minute, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Clarification, please. Tell us why we're prohibited. What are you going to do? That's pretty wild. And then, oh my God, right away after he says prohibited, the very next morning, he says that they've resumed bombing Lebanon, claiming they broke the ceasefire. And then they say, well, first of all, let's focus on that one. You got 1,172 people, an angry face icon, 267 clown icons. Wait a minute. So they're already going to test the boundaries and actually say, F you, you can't tell me what to do. We're going to start bombing again anyway. Wow. That's just, it's so out of character, isn't it? No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not out of character. It's very much in character. Something we keep seeing. Crazy. Then they say we see this announcement, the ceasefire announcement, as a slap in the face. That is a very heavy remark, and again shows, wow, they are not happy about this. This is why they already resumed bombing. They don't want this to end. But again, this is exactly what the other alliance posts were saying. So now I want to go back and review. We'll go back in time and review some other posts, try to find out, is there actually a schism between the alliance and our president, or is this all some big kayfabe, which I now think it was? Because now everything lines up based on what he did, that they are prohibited, enough is enough. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? There's a slap in the face. We want to do whatever the hell we want. You can't tell us what to do. Look at some of the posts that we had in the past. First of all, this is an important one. If he was the Antichrist, don't you think they'd let him into the Bilderberg group? Nope, he's not invited. Scheduled to take place in D.C., he's not allowed to go. 1,610 people laughing and crying. You can see there. That's how they rule. It's not out of character. By deception, you make war. Happy Elena said that. Come on, peeps, settle down. I guess people are freaking out. But anyway, some people say it's because he brought attention to the Pope. I don't know. Anyway, he was not invited to Bilderberg. That's a pretty big clue, isn't it? Right there. And then this comment, though, made me think maybe they are trolling him, because he said that the people love being bombed. What the hell? I mean, yeah, but when you clarify, you actually listen to what he said. He said that they know that when those things are happening, that the corrupt regime that's taken over their country is being attacked. So, yeah, it's being taken down. They want to get this group out of there. They know that the bombings are causing that to happen. So, yeah, some people might feel that way, but this, again, really made me wonder if there was a schism between the alliance. All the way back on, like, April 5th, 6th, I was wondering this. So then this didn't come true, that he was ordering the president not to create a ceasefire, but he's done it anyway. Since 6th, he's done it a couple times. That shows you where they stand. They don't want this to stop. They want this to go and go and go forever. And again, you know, my friend Jude, we want to see this country's honor restored. We want to see people stop dying. That's what we're hoping for. We really, really want to see that happen. So this is a good thing, okay? It's not a bad thing. The fact that that didn't actually come true, but you can see where the intention is there. Before the Monday deadline, which we had a couple weeks ago, we were in that taco thing again, Taco Monday, Tuesday. Here we go. The American Doomsday plane spotted circling above a key Nebraska Air Force base, which is actually the nuclear one, on Monday. That's where the drones were that were potentially going to stop us from being able to do anything like that, just hours before the deadline for Iran to accept the peace deal set to expire. That was really scary because they have those Doomsday planes up if they need to fight a nuclear war. Thank God it didn't happen. Now, this is where some really strange stuff happened, and they also signal with the idea of him being wounded on the side and yet did live. Tucker is a low IQ person? What? And there, the picture they happen to choose is the one where he's wounded on the side yet does live. In his ear, you got the bandage right there. Whoa. And he says he has no idea what's going on. So that, again, made me wonder, why in the world would you point this out? Because it's very embarrassing. Obviously, he's one of the most popular influencers, but it was only after Tucker stood up to him that he does this. Again, it could be WrestleMania, man. It could be kayfabe that, you know, he wants to create this apparent division to make it look like he's on their side. Anybody that stands up to them, he's gonna tell you that you're mentally retarded, which you're not even supposed to say that anymore, or he's going to tell you got a low IQ, or that you have no idea what's going on. And there's more of these. So that really freaked me out. That one freaked me out because they showed the wound. Oh, somebody in the comments is saying, what's a kayfabe? A kayfabe, there's this thing that they use in wrestling that comes from the carnival days, which is be fake, and then be fake, kayfabe means the same thing. So what they do is they take every vowel sound and they add is with it. So if you're going to cut your head a little bit and draw blood, that's called a bleazid giazab, which would be bleed job. So bleazid giazab is, you put the is sound in the middle. Bleazid giazab. And so what you do is you take every word and every vowel sound and you add is to it. And then that way you can talk to each other in front of an audience and they don't understand what you're saying because it's all in code. So it is, I don't even know how to do it. I've never practiced it, but coizode. Instead of saying code, you'd say coizode. Instead of saying is, you'd say, well, is wouldn't work, but anyway. That's how it works. Coizode would be code, that kind of thing. So going forward, I will ban any person insulting religions or groups. This is a family, guys. Let's be civil, says Midnight Mark. Okay, he just put he put the law down. He's one of our best moderators. So WrestleMania 42 going on in Vegas right now. That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. Very interesting. So anyway, lots of stuff going on here. Isn't this wild? Wounded on the ear, yet did live. Antichrist speculation. And yet, at the very end, when it really matters, it turns out that he's not on their side. He says they're prohibited, and he's going to stop it. Enough is enough. That's wild. Then they're going to go after Turkey next. Oh, my God. Next major existential threat, and we must take care of it for them. I don't know if that's going to happen, but again, they're trying to get us to fight things for them. That made me scared reading that one. And then he convinces them not to do it. Again, would the Antichrist be doing this? Convincing them not to do it as part of a 2-week ceasefire? Probably not. Probably not. The Antichrist would want death. So they're opening the strait here. And again, I'm saying there's still, you might not like him, I get that, but to say that he's actually the Antichrist is kind of ridiculous in light of some of the things that we're seeing here. I just wanted to make that point. I'm not saying that it rubber stamps all these things or that he's totally fine. There's a lot of annoying stuff going on, but is there a deeper layer to this? There might be. I just want you to think about it, make up your own mind. I'm giving you information. You can decide what you want to do with it. They opened the strait for 2 weeks as part of the ceasefire. That was awesome. We saw that. Whereas Laura wants to see them burned to the ground. Extremely disappointed that they agreed to a ceasefire, wants to watch their civilization burn to the ground. That, again, is showing you the opposition, showing you certain people with certain very radical ideas, and what do they really want? They want nasty stuff to happen. And then it says here that they will defend themselves against anyone regardless of the ceasefire. They do not want the ceasefire, and they'll continue bombing. And then this was very wild. Ezra comes out and says the only loser in the ceasefire is ... Holy crap. I mean, you can't get much more on the nose than that. So they're clearly showing a bias. They're clearly showing they don't want this to happen. They don't want this to go on. They want there to be a ceasefire, but that this certain group does not. So again, why would they say this? I don't know, but it's interesting. More developments show up on the 8th. They have suspended shipping in the strait here amid the ceasefire violations. That's where the blockade started. And then Iran says it is completely willing to walk away unless they will have to walk away unless the bombing stops in Lebanon, which it finally has. Now we're in a 10-day peace treaty, which is great. And then that was one of the things that made me wonder, again, is this a kayfabe? Kayfabe means be fake, right? So in wrestling, they got to pretend that they're attacking each other when they're really not. So he might be pretending that he's on their side, but then later on he's going to say you're prohibited, enough is enough. At this point, he's acting like, oh, we don't care about those Christians in Lebanon. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, that happened for a while, but is that a kayfabe? Was it a fake thing like WrestleMania? Yeah. Now in hindsight, it totally looks like it was. And again, I have friends, my friend Jude, where we want to see this all work out. We want to see it become peaceful. That's a positive. So let's just figure this out, okay? What's going on here? Then this also seemed like maybe there's a schism in the alliance. I was wondering if that's what it was. The one on the top says Alex believes he may be showing early signs of dementia. That's pretty shocking they'd put that out there. It doesn't sound like it's very loyal. And then the next one was that eligible young men will be automatically registered for the U.S. military draft. Ooh, that's scary. Does that mean we're going to have a big, long war? Hopefully not. He says it's going to be over soon. This was really amazing, where she is going for it here. The time is now to go after their clients and hold these people accountable. My goodness. That's pretty insane. It's his own wife, too. So, like, you know, big stuff is happening. The kind of stuff that would that have happened if he, again, if he was all evil? Probably not. I don't think so. I don't think so. And then we had this quote I gave you last week, the world's most powerful reset. The entire world is going through the most powerful reset in history. So yeah, you need to play the kayfabe game. You need to hide the intentions, hide the cards. Can't do it all at once. Pretty wild how this is all happening. And the reset implies a new financial system, new governance, you know, justice, all this kind of stuff. And yes, that seems to be what we're seeing. We already got briefed that Iran is going to be the last big war. Things are going to wind down after that. I hope that's true. I really do. This was another thing that made me wonder if there was a schism in the alliance. I didn't ask it before, but I am now. So Candace telling him, you will most certainly die a slave. You are in chains right now. The entire world can see that. That's what he wanted you to think. That's what I now believe, because again, he said you're prohibited, enough is enough. You are a slave, you're in chains, the whole world can see that. They put this out, yeah, because that's what they wanted you to think. It was necessary for that stage of the operation of what they were doing. That's my belief. And somebody donated and said, get some good grass-fed beef, donated $50. Thank you guys so much. We now have an aggregate total of $1,700 of donations today. That is incredible. Thank you very much. You guys are doing great. Keep them coming. I do really need it. That Candace quote was super powerful, says Dr. Phil. You're absolutely right. It's nice to go back and read some Alliance posts. Good God, the show is getting better with Law of One stuff, and now it's fear and war again. Thanks for ruining my Sunday. Now I have to go de-stress. Now, look, this is not, we're going to have a reading coming up here. We're still at the 2-hour and 30-minute mark. We got a whole hour left, and we're almost done with these slides. Sorry if this ruins your week, but again, I don't think that this is all evil and bad. I think that something good is happening, and I think we're going to get where we need to go. That's my belief. Sorry if you don't like it. I got to appeal to everybody, but a lot of people, you know, want to see this thing come to an end. That's all I'm doing. I'm just saying, is there a schism or not? I think this is a very important question, and I feel uniquely qualified to tackle this. So then they had another post that Shadow came out with where it said, ask the question, are you 17? It was since deleted, but it was very shocking. It was on his channel. It's not there anymore. It was such kryptonite. I'm like, man, I'm never going to post this thing. But because it was like, well, they really seem to be a schism in the alliance here, because they're specifically showing you the public persona of this man, Joe, right? And you remember he was on with Tucker. Why did we actually go to war with Iran? That was a very intense thing, because he had a high-ranking position, and he turned it away. You know, he resigned in March 2026, citing his opposition to the war. He was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. And then you can see he run for the Congress, lost to Perez. Staunch supporter of the president, nominated in February 2025, confirmed in July 2025. But then he resigned in what appeared to be a very, very embarrassing thing for the administration, saying that it was unjust and that there was no real reason for us to go in there. He couldn't support it in good conscience. They posed no imminent threat. The conflict driven by pressure from this country and this American lobby. And then they, of course, accuse him of being anti, all that stuff. Sadly, his wife died in a suicide bombing, and so I'm not supposed to say that, sorry. Anyway, died in a bombing in Syria. But, you know, you can't say that word here, so I hope I didn't get in trouble. Anyway, incredible to see that he signed an order legalizing plant medicine in the middle of all this. Lots of trauma and PTSD. We need to, I agree. That's in the show, too. We got it all. So anyway, CJ Shannon donated. Thank you, David. Thank you very, very much. This is really, really wild. A lot of things going on. They're very interesting right now. So again, they pose no imminent threat. The conflict was driven by the pressure from this group. Now you notice that the president never came out and attacked him. So, and then go back to what we saw before here, where it said that the actual post that was posted by Shadow said, ask him the question, are you 17? And what he did is he actually posted a link to Joe's public profile. And then they have a film of him typing in the question, ask the question, are you 17? I mean, that was very provocative because he went flatly against what the president appears to be in favor of. 17 would imply that he is the alliance, that he did this on purpose on behalf of the alliance. Holy crap. Like, yeah, but then what does that mean? There's a schism with the president. And I was wondering if there was. Charlie Winter, thank you so much. You donated $333. Wow. No M&Ms today. Great work this week, David. Hope this helps. There are great meat boxes that you can have delivered like Nebraska bison. Well, you don't deliver actual fresh meat to my P.O. box because that's not going to work. And, you know, the home address would work, UPS, FedEx would work, but not the P.O. box. We only can use the prepper food. If you send me a steak to the P.O. box, it won't work. But anyway, Lisa Dawn Marble, I understand you're vegan. I'm sorry. But, you know, anytime we talk about that, somebody's going to have an objection. My apologies. Anyway, so are you 17? Wow. Deleted, but very shocking. On his channel, this is the guy who, again, resigned after being the director of counterterrorism, citing his opposition. Well, obviously they're implying that, yes, that was the alliance, and they believe that this was driven by pressure. So this was done on purpose by the alliance to create a public awakening. And yes, it was a very high-profile resignation. So then the question was, is there a schism or not? Well, back then you might have thought there was, whereas now that he says enough is enough, maybe there isn't a schism. Maybe it's okay, which would be great, you know, because we really don't want to see this thing fall apart. So then on Sunday, they're ready to go right back into it again. This is nuts. That was last Sunday, right when we were doing our show, the immediate readiness to go back to war following the collapse of talks. They wanted it so bad, but it's not happening. It still hasn't happened. And again, my friend Jude would say, let's please stop this. So effective immediately, the U.S. is going to begin blockading ships attempting to enter or leave. That's really weird, but again, the point was you don't want to give them the money. Then this survivor says she's having support from his wife, that they're on their side. There's going to be more details to come. This is really wild. Same day, the bizarre image of Christ appears, and then again they're asking, is he the Antichrist? Well, maybe it's more about healing that element that's in America, hence the Statue of Liberty components to the so-called winged demon. That seems to be more likely now. I think we're starting to unpack this and figure it out. And again, he took a big hit for this, but it's like a kayfabe, you know? Appearing to appease the negative, appearing to put the demon in there, when really you're fighting against this stuff. I don't know. So this was another one that made it look like maybe he's in the pocket with them. The chief counsel issued a special resolution thanking him for the fighting. They're not thanking him now, man, not after what just happened. And then again, we're talking about the confirming that the Cuba will happen after Iran. This was really strange too. They're putting up barbed wire around their embassy, maybe because he was saying, you know, you guys can't supply anything to them. If you do supply weapons, there's 50% tariff. That would be pretty insane. So, you know, and all this other stuff. So they're actually worried that they might have some kind of attack or something going on. That's actually very interesting and disturbing. Then yet another individual connected to top secret U.S. UFO and nuclear-oriented research vanishing without a trace. It's up to 11 now, apparently. And then this was another really weird one. Got to be very circumspect about this. Allen revealing he was a key voice proposing they should blockade the strait to counter the other blockade. That's weird. You can speculate about what that means. But then look at the bias based on the picture here. They can clearly see the bias. April 15th, cover-up being accused. The Pentagon is being accused of covering up this information after missing the UFO deadline. Well, they probably just need to bring it out at the right time. That's what I honestly think. Same day, this was pretty shocking too. Allen says he and Miriam, the one who's, richest woman in the world probably, inheritor of her husband Sheldon's wealth in many, many billions, tens of billions, I believe, they will take care of him when it comes to forcing him to be fully supportive. And we got Punjab Patty, not Potty, saying, David, please do a show on the Hindu religion. We'll think about, let me think about that, see what we could come up with. They're going to take care of him. Well, that didn't happen. Even though he's getting money, all of a sudden he says you're prohibited from doing any further attacks. That's really wild. Can't stress that one enough. Bill to block the sales fails. So 59 senators said, no, we're not going to stop weapons from going over there. That's interesting. Again, showing the strength of the lobby. And then the laptop is now back in the spotlight. This is their last chance to get it right. Why are they talking about the administration as something on the outside? Well, again, I think this is the alliance, so that's pretty interesting. This was also pretty weird, too. Susan Wiles is now getting the kind of publicity she never liked or wanted. She usually stays in the shadows, but no more. And it says the chief of staff has been named the 100 most influential people of 2026, described as one of the most influential. Usually the decisions he makes, she's the last person he talks to before he makes a decision. Again, what's the context here? Maybe where her loyalties are. It's a very interesting thing. And so there are elements in the administration that the alliance appears to be calling out here. Now, this is another one that just showed up recently. The vanishings, 10 dead or missing scientists may be linked to a foreign nation akin to U.S. activities after World War II. Some foreign nation, which could be the DS again, could be something else, doesn't want people whistleblowing about the UFO phenomenon. They don't want anything coming out. And so, so he's actually the former FBI official saying this. That's pretty wild. Then we saw this. Everybody who speaks out against him, Megan, Tucker, Alex, and Candace, he's saying all of them are low IQ, mentally retarded, and highly overrated. But yeah, these are like the top 4 influencers in the whole movement. So again, is this a kayfabe? I think so. I think that's what we're dealing with, folks. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it has to look really good. It has to look really, you got to have a bleed job. You got to bleed out a little bit. Make it look like there's blood when a single drop of blood is worth 1,000 bumps, right? So it appears there's this big fragmentation in time. Now that we've seen the prohibited statement, I don't think this is really true. I think it's all been set up that way. He couldn't really make these statements until the right moment, which has now happened. So then they've reopened the strait. That was great. That happened on Friday, and then there was a little bit of firing that took place, but it stopped very quickly, thank God. So we're getting towards peace here, which is great. Now, this is another UFO-oriented item that was on the alliance's stuff. Evidence is so classified that just knowing it makes you a target. This was from Representative Andy Ogles. And it was in response to UFO cluster spotted over a mysterious base tied to missing Air Force scientist. And he says that just simply knowing the information that's classified is so heavy that it makes him a target to be assassinated just by knowing these things. But again, the missing Air Force scientist, one of these missing people, and then there's a UFO over there. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? So simply knowing it exists makes him a target. That's pretty interesting from the alliance. And then we have a flurry of great sounding posts that all showed up on Friday. I read these to you, some of them before, but we're just doing it again real quick, that $20 billion if they give up their uranium. That's pretty wild. It said right there, in return for giving up the stockpile and a 3-page peace plan being circulated between the U.S. and Iran. That's great. I mean, they should take that deal. They'll get a lot of money that way, and we don't have to pay anything. And isn't it great when it's free, but then you can repay them and they get everything they want, and now there's no nuclear threat? I think it's great. So that happened on Friday. See that right there? It's pretty freaking cool if you ask me. And again, I'm just trying to focus on the positive, you guys. I'm not trying to say that everything is great. I mean, there's a lot of problems. It is frustrating, but try to look for the good if we can. Passage for all commercial vessels is now completely open for the rest of the ceasefire, the remaining period. That is awesome. Then, this is where, again, holy crap, they will not be bombing any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the USA. Unbelievable. And we're going to get all the nuclear dust. No money will exchange hands. So again, this really to me is the key moment in the whole thing, the plot twist, when the hero gets up off the ground after appearing to be dead, and now he's going to stand up. And again, my friend Jude wants to see something like this happen. A lot of others want to see something like this happen. We don't want the war. We don't want the death. That's really cool. So enough is enough. Okay, wow. Something has shifted here. Uranium is not going to be transported out in any official, ordinary way. That's what they're saying now. So again, it's like they immediately want to make him sound like a liar. First he says that they're making a deal, and then the foreign minister says, no, there's no deal. They do this a lot. And they like to, make it look like he's crazy or he's delusional or he's lying. We're not giving up any of our uranium. Well, he's got 20 billion reasons why you should. So I think they're going to give it up. I think it's going to be fine. But this a little bit scary. That happened on Friday. They like to make him sound like a liar. So then this was the other one we saw before. They're in a panic mode, asking for clarification. And why are we prohibited? What are you going to do? They're very much in panic. Panic is a strong word, and they called it a slap in the face. So that's very heavy. Then, guess what? As I said before, they started to resume the bombing once again, saying the ceasefire is broken, so they're already testing the boundaries. And then at the same time, though, he comes out and says, this is probably still part of the, whatever theater is going on here. Doesn't matter whether you like them or not, they've proven to be a great ally. Well, yeah, but you're saying they're prohibited, enough is enough. So there's some strange things going on here. So then, this was yesterday, Saturday, they fired on passing ships again, right after they said there's a ceasefire. Oh my God. Thankfully, this doesn't seem like it's going to last. At least 2 merchant vessels report they were hit by gunfire attempting to cross the strait after they said they were reimposing military controls because the U.S. is maintaining the blockade. We hope there's still going to be a deal, and I think there will be. And then he said they've committed a serious violation of the ceasefire, but he still believes he can secure a peace deal either the easy way or the hard way. Let's hope it's the easy way. It always seems to end up being that way as time goes on. But it could be the hard way too. Then they just made this comment. This was just today now. I believe today's the 19th, right? So something's going to happen in Argentina for sure. Pay attention to the body language, the smiles, and the words. And here you have Javier Milei getting emotional while meeting his hero, as you can see. So, okay, something is going to happen in Argentina. You can study that more if you want to. I don't know what it is yet, but we'll figure it out. Arrests are right around the corner. This is from the FBI director. He says arrests related to what happened back in that year are right around the corner. So this is something we've been expecting for a long time. Could trigger a domino effect that gets us to the last point. Leads to the idea that everything is rigged, leads to the idea of what kind of collusion was going on, exposes the swamp, something we've talked about quite a bit, could actually be about to happen. So that's really, really wild. A couple other big pieces of news that you guys were raving about in the comments over and over again. First of all, the legalization of iboga or ibogaine. That is a very intense substance, man. I mean, I've heard that, if you trip on iboga, you don't ever want to trip again. You'll never want to trip again because it's so intense. But it can create a massive PTSD unblocking, apparently. And so check this out. It actually says the FDA is approving investigational new drug clearance for ibogaine. It's an African psychedelic, paving the way for the first ever human trials in the US. And again, many people have reported they get incredible therapeutic benefit from this, but the trip is so bad, it's so heavy, you're never going to want to do it. And we also had this, which was even weirder in some ways. Joe Rogan, after speaking out in very negative ways, almost like another kayfabe being revealed, explains how he himself, there he is behind the president, sent the information to help lead to this executive order to accelerate medical treatment and patient access to psychedelic-based treatments for conditions like PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, depression, anxiety, and addiction. I don't know about you, but even though I'm sober and I don't want to take anything right now at all because I've got all these weird health issues, like I said, it's like type 1 pre-diabetes kind of stuff is happening to me. Thank God my vision is okay. Thank God I still have feeling in my feet and stuff, and I might be able to reverse this. But yeah, I need to spend more money on food. Thank you guys for the donations. Yes, smash the like button. We're only at 1,400 likes. Please do that. Henry Johansson says, I did a whole root iboga. It wasn't that intense. It was a very beautiful experience. Isolated ibogaine is different, I guess. You better believe it was. Joe Rogan flip-flops all the time. Yep, it's pretty interesting what happened here. PTSD, depression, anxiety, psychedelics can make a difference in that process. And Joe Rogan was just talking a lot of hate, and now he's out there smiling, and right behind him in the office there, you can see that. It's pretty wild. Like the big reveal is going on. There's RFK Jr. It's pretty interesting. And this, again, is a big win, I believe, because accelerating medical research and patient access, yeah, you don't want to just give it out recreationally. I mean, you can get it that way here in Colorado, but it should be available to people who can benefit from it. I think that's a positive. Scarlet Fire says, ibogaine is a psychoactive alkaloid derived from the African Tabernath iboga shrub used experimentally to treat addiction, opioids, cocaine, and alcohol. That's right. People apparently can get sober after taking it. Yes, David, they keep trying to make it look like a liar. You're absolutely right. Joe absolutely practices kayfabe, says Angela. Yep, I think he does. He knows all about the wrestling stuff. If med beds could fix most everything, why are we pursuing conventional Western medicine? Well, this isn't conventional. This is still pretty alternative, fringy stuff right here we're talking about. So then after they fired, he's downplaying it. He doesn't want to make a big deal out of it. He's not going crazy. He's not acting like he would be the Antichrist here. He's saying, oh, they just got a little cute. They wanted to close the strait, but they can't blackmail us. Now a lot of ships are coming to Texas to fill up. They got used to it. Maybe they'll keep doing it. Working out pretty good. So we've gotten a lot of money out of this. And again, oops, I didn't have the right, that's the wrong title there, but forgot to add the right title because I was working very fast at the end trying to make sure I got all this in on time before I went on camera. Iranian officials say they will prioritize releasing ships that pay the toll. Vessels that do not pay the toll will have their passage postponed. That sounds like they're still trying to do extortion, which means it could be solved violently, as he had warned them. But then it says, update. IRGC says the Hormuz Strait will be closed from this evening, as the U.S. did not lift the naval blockade, and that any vessel approaching the strait will be considered cooperating with the enemy, and their vessel will be targeted. So that's why we need a prayer today, folks. This is still looking a little bit scary, a little bit weird. So we want to keep the power of mass prayer going. That's what we're going to do. And then here's another link that says, in insider paper, they were shocked with the Post declaring strikes prohibited, asking the White House for clarifications. According to a U.S. source, another source familiar talking to Axios, that they were shocked. They said it was a slap across the face. That is pretty heavy. So he is trying to bring about peace, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. So then we hear that the White House saying that the vice president is traveling to the Pakistan capital of Islamabad for Iran talks, in addition to Wilcock and Kushner. But remember, they didn't want those guys going. They specifically said, we don't want those two guys involved. So now they've called off the talks. Very sad. I think it'll happen again. But again, we want that to happen. So this is his most recent big quote. It just came out today, April 19th. If they don't take the deal, he is going to knock out, again, every single power plant and every single bridge in the country. No more Mr. Nice Guy. We're back to this again. Panic at your leisure. Feel free to panic. That's why we need a meditation here. We don't want this timeline. We want the positive timeline. Okay, we had Katrina Holm, focusing on the highest and best good for all beings. She donated $50. Thank you very, very much. We're up to 2,200 gross chat revenues. That's awesome. Thank you. Incredible that I can do that. We got 15,300 views, 2,700 viewers. You guys are hanging with me. And so this is great. We're at the 3-hour mark right now. We got a half an hour left to get our final reading done. This is perfect. We are beautifully on time today. It's come together beautifully considering I just put some of this show together last night and this morning. I actually got up at 4:30 in the morning to work on this. Uh-oh, this doesn't sound that good. Sorry, that guy that panicked and freaked out and couldn't handle it. But they decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait, total violation of the ceasefire. Many of them were aimed at a French ship, a freighter from the UK. That wasn't nice. My representatives are going to Islamabad. They'll be there for negotiations. They recently announced they were closing the Strait, which is strange because our blockade already did. They're helping us without knowing, and they're the ones who are losing $500 million a day, whereas we lose nothing. In fact, many ships are headed right now to the U.S., Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska to load up. Compliments of them. Always wanting to be the tough guy. We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal. Again, they get $20 million for giving us their uranium. I hope they take it because if they don't, we are going to knock out, every single power plant and bridge. No more Mr. Nice Guy. They'll come down fast and easy. If they don't take the deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done, which should have been done by other presidents for the last 47 years. Time for the killing machine to end. Let's hope that this is enough leverage to cause it to be peaceful. Because again, he's threatened this before, and then when push really came to shove, it didn't end up happening. But it's got to look really scary. So I think that's what we're dealing with. I hope that's all it is. Let's pray that it doesn't turn out the other way, because I really don't want to see that. It would be, because they've already threatened that if that's done to them, they're going to do it to everybody else in the Middle East. Same kind of thing. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But either way, let's not play around with such scary, intense threats. You know, it just... Sorry, I got to get my water going here. Definitely time for some water. But, you know, we really don't want to see these kind of things happen. Carrie Cassidy saying there's a major Stargate in Iran. The war is about guarding the entry-exit point. It's possible. I mean, I have heard that those things exist, and Iran could be one of the places where it does. Not saying it's not possible. I think there's a lot of other things going on here. I think there has been coordinated negativity coming out of this country. The Alliance told us about that. So, you know, that's just my feeling. I mean, we're going to get through this one way or another. I do believe this. I don't think everything's going to get blown up. I really don't. But yeah, this is a very, very intense threat. And then it looks even worse right now because they have rejected the peace talks. That's right, breaking news that just came out right before airtime. I scrambled to get this in here right before the show. They rejected the peace talks involving Jared, Steve, and JD. So again, we heard already they didn't want Jared and Steve involved, so maybe it can be restarted without them. But let's pray, because again, otherwise this is really insane. And at the same time, breaking news, military presence is returning. The USS Gerald Ford returns to the Middle East along with 2 destroyers, the Mahon and the USS Winston Churchill, joining the USS Abraham Lincoln, already operating there. The USS George H.W. Bush is also en route, expected to arrive before the end of April. 3 aircraft carriers and strike groups then operating in the region. So yes, this is like very intense stuff that's going on, because it's a huge military buildup, which means that yes, they could begin striking again, blowing everything up and doing a bunch of stuff. And so the stakes are very high. I think they will capitulate. I think they will take the deal. They just probably need a different negotiating team that doesn't involve Jared and Steve, as we saw in previous week's show. Then we had yet another piece of breaking news that came out right before airtime, which is here. This is from David Nino Rodriguez. The FBI director just confirmed they are folding an entire grand conspiracy case together, promising arrests are coming very soon. Holy smokes. We've got all the evidence I can announce on your show we've got all the information we need, working with our prosecutors at the DOJ under Attorney General Todd Blanche. We are going to be making arrests. It's coming, I promise. It will be soon. Maria followed up and asked if the FBI has evidence of this, to which he responded, yes. We are folding this into our entire conspiracy case. We have information that backs his claim. I would say stay tuned this week, tongue-in-cheek. You might see a thing or two. Notice he specifically said our entire conspiracy case. It seems like we are definitely getting close. What amazing breaking news. We've been tracking this story for quite a long time. And again, somehow things keep on working out. We are all going through an initiation process. We're being forced to face our fears like never before. This is an exciting and very scary time, and I therefore encourage you to focus on the positive, because that's where it's really our point of power comes from. So I do believe meditations actually make a difference. We're going to do one in a minute here, and I wish there were other influencers doing this besides me. So far there haven't been. But I want you to never give up hope or forget your true calling. It's very important that we stick to the calling. We are all on this inexplicable, massive journey together, and life is never going to be dull at this point in time. So again, please stay true to your inner calling by reflecting and calling upon your own inner Christ self. It's funny, I always say the Christ is within, the Christ within. Then he posted that image during our shows when it actually came out of himself as the Christ. Well, you got in a lot of trouble for that, but there is a point there. I mean, it's interesting. PJ Patterson says, I am boxing Nino Rodriguez in 3 weeks. No joke, man. Okay, I believe you. Now, without further ado, we're going to have a new reading on awakening your inner Christ self. We're at the 3-hour and 7-minute mark, which is perfect. This is perfect timing. So in this case, I'm not going to, we can't read it really slowly because we got to get through this in about 15 minutes or so. But it's a good one. It's another one where, again, what did I do? I tuned in deeply, focusing on the Christ within, and I just listen. And then I just write down what I hear. And I'm just trying to get to a place where we focus on the big picture, focus on the positive, get something positive happening here, and that's what we've done. So I'm really happy that I got to bring you the show today, guys. I didn't know if I was going to do one. I was really down. My energy has been really down from these symptoms that I've been having. It's been very hard to work. I've had a really low energy situation, but you know, the more that I can get ahead of the game and get back on track, the better it's going to be. We are going to try to do a launch here, get that going so you guys have something to order and make a product. But honestly, I've just been too sick to be able to do it. It's really scary. I even thought about, you know, well, should I go to the hospital? I don't really want to. I don't really want to deal with all that crap. But anyway, if you guys have donated, you've been really great to me, and I appreciate that. Sending me some food in the mail, maybe you'll do that too. P.O. Box 3700. That would be awesome. Anyway, we have a great reading. I'm not going to make you meditate, close your eyes. You can read the words on the screen. But this is something that comes from the Christ within. And, you know, it's also my conscious mind. It's blended in together. I'm not saying it's divine revelation. I'm just saying that this is the words that I heard, and they're poetic and they're beautiful. And it gets us to, again, focus on the meditation, the healing, and the positivity that we all really need to have right now in the world. So without further ado, here we go. A new reading on awakening your inner Christed self. Here we go. Oh, somebody just said, unsubscribed. I didn't realize you were a supporter of 47. Look, you can unsubscribe if you want to, but my point is I just am trying to look at the positive. My family doesn't like what's going on. I get it. But I'm trying to give us something so that when you're looking at the situation that you're already dealing with in the world, we're already dealing with this, you don't have to like him. But if he's making moves that are actually going to create peace, I think that's probably a good thing. I definitely think it's a good thing. And I just want to talk about the real controversy. I didn't think I was going to reveal those alliance posts at all, because it looks like they hate him. It looks like they're saying he's the Antichrist. It looks so, but I want to dig in and find out, you know, is that really what they think, or is there a kayfabe going on? And again, kayfabe is what the wrestlers do when they're pretending to hate each other, but behind the scenes, they actually smile and laugh and get along. And I think that's probably what's going on. I just want to talk about this. And, you know, yes, so Patricia says, thank you for talking about all this. And then other people are happy. So it's you know, we have a very divided electorate. I get that. People are not all, you know, the same. But to me, this is something that I want to focus on the positive. I want to focus on good things, and I think we can get there. So let's read. It's been a festering problem for decades, so the Iran move, it was best to finally solve it. Yes, Paul Can, I agree with you. TDS is a real thing. Hope these people get better. Somebody just trying to get you worked up. Well, yeah, I mean, whatever, that's fine. I am Weetod Did, says Sam Corbin. I'm not sure what you're talking about. He is the Sofa King. He wants to be the Sofa King. Okay. No problem, buddy. Moving right along. Moving right along, yeah. Baby, you do you, okay? You just do whatever you like because your trama here, I identify as a grand woman. That's right, I'm your trama, and I want to make cookies for you, and I want to give you love and move into your house. I could go right over in the corner. You'd never even notice I was there. I am the sofa queen, baby. You might be the king, but trama is the sofa queen. Come on, baby, cuddle up with trama. Get closer and closer and closer. I love you. I love you so much, baby. Come right on in here. Get close to your trama. Identify with the gender specifics of a grand woman. I will love you to pieces, baby. We'll get together on the couch, and I'll be your sofa queen. Yeah. Your trama. You like that? You had to get some trama. Yes, we got a lot of people laughing about the trama right there. We got you right in the comments, folks. You got to give your trama some love because she gets a little lonely, you know. She doesn't always like to be alone. She wants to have you just cuddle up and get nice and close and give her just a little tiny peck on the cheek. That's all you have to do with the trama. She doesn't need much. It's just a little tiny bit, just a little gesture of affection to show that you appreciate your trama because she's out there working for you. She's got a job. She's got all these responsibilities. She drives 10 minutes to get to work in the morning. It doesn't happen the way it's supposed to. And my God, it's like there's traffic and there's people honking the horns. It's freaking crazy. The whole thing is crazy. Your trama doesn't like having to drive to work. She'd be better off. She didn't have to do it at all, but she's got bills to pay, responsibilities. She's got tran babies. She's got to take care of the tran babies. Don't you love her? Don't you love her? Of course you do. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for laughing about the trama. Thank you for bringing me some peace and joy in my life today. I will be your sofa queen. How about that? Da, 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 da. I'm all American. Trama's an American. I claim the right to identify as a grand woman here in America, where I have the freedom and the luxury to say and do whatever the hell I want, even if it means that I think that all of a sudden, just because I got this shock of curly hair, that I must be some kind of grandma, okay? That's what I'm doing. Love it or leave it, baby. I'm here. I'm your sofa queen. Woo! Where did that come from? Brilliant. Ha, ha, ha. People are saying, look at all the laughter we got here. Anyway, it's funny, huh? Sofa king, well, I'll be your sofa queen, baby. I'll do it just for you. All right, anyway, there we go. A little bit of trama, keep things fun and exciting. I am not gay. I just think that's hilarious. Just like Whose Line, you know, pretending to be gay is funny. So that's what I'm doing. Not a homosexual. I've had wives, and thank you anyway. Not interested in that stuff. But I do love to do comedy, and so that was, yeah, we brought the laughs. Brought some laughs today. Do not go to the hospital or a doctor. You know better than that. David, for God's sake, will you please listen? Okay, anyway, here we go. Let's go right into the reading now. This is beautiful stuff. Let's hit the ground running. All right. Awaken, dear friend, and reclaim your birthright. Boy, it's sort of a shocking transition. Trama right into Christ consciousness. Woo! We got kind of... You might have ground the gears a little bit when you were shifting the car, David. If you're going to go to driver ed, you probably ought to downshift a little bit, maybe slow them down a little bit before you get right into all this kind of Christ stuff. You know, your trama might not necessarily be all into that, but that's okay, you know. Baruch Hashem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Anyway, there we go. She's got it all, man. She's got it all in her ensemble of tricks. All right, here we go. Grandma is a rock star. She's Angry Daddy's mother. I didn't even thought about that. That's true. Claudia donated. Thank you for David, all you do. Lots of love. And M. Larson, things are complicated, and this shows the times that we live in. Love and light to you, David. Thank you, brother. Good times. Glad you guys liked the show. We need a new clutch. That's right. The damn clutch won't work. It's crazy. This is crazy. Doing a little bit of Jude's grandmother there. Let's pray for David's health to improve, says John Metzer. Anyway, no, I'm actually not gay, you guys. Come on. It's just fun. It's just a fun character. That's all it is. Just based on, you know, the trans agenda and, you know, whatever. I don't have to justify myself. I'm fine. That was hilarious. Thank you, guys. Okay. Let's take it now several notches higher. We're going to go from the root chakra all the way up to the crown chakra up here. And we're going to go right up into the Christ consciousness and pray for peace, because that's what we really need. So here we go. Awaken, dear friend, and reclaim your birthright. Deep within you are the answers you seek. You have longed for a solution to the paradoxes that lie before you. Veritably, the golden path to righteousness is there for the taking, and it emanates from that very Christ within. You have spent much time toiling in the vineyards, seeking to reap the harvest you have sown. You have sought out universal guidance, perhaps not realizing it was always there inside you. You have lived a life of difficulty, while not always seeing the greatest puzzles had the most elegant answers readily available. This is a time to adhere to the principles of the universal mind. This is a time to enjoy the great reckoning that comes from within the self as you balance the challenges that present themselves to you and restore your foundation once more. The platform upon which you stand is one of love. The glory of that realization reverberates through all of the different phases of your life. The elegance of the approach does not undermine its inherent difficulty, as you are challenged each and every day with distractions that threaten your focus. To make right with the universe is to embrace and accept that peace that surpasses understanding. You are fundamentally redefined by the infinite consciousness that is always available. This moment in time stretches out to infinity as you embrace the everlasting presence that exists at the root of all creation. I think it's pretty beautiful, huh? Framaw for president, says Ron J. Horton. Well, some people, like my dad, would probably think that's even better. King Flush, good evening from Norway. I met you in London 2011. You're a good hugger. Thank you very much. Embracing this everlasting presence. Isn't this great? All right, you guys. Thank you. This Christ consciousness is inherently yours to identify, accept, embrace, and enjoy. It is not some hidden arcane secret available only to the select few. It comes in the joy of a smile, the journey of a good story or a laugh, and the wonder of the now. It is there with you more often than you typically realize, as is the nature of all reality. Let's not forget what it takes to approach the throne of the divine within, to be accepting, patient, calm, and understanding, to live free from the encumbrances that would hinder so many others, and to accept and honor the innate goodness that lies within yourself and all others. Beautiful words, huh? I think this is really great stuff. Thank you. This is your time to rise and shine from the slumber of innate materiality, from the doldrums of despair, and the compromises implicit in the indulgence of duality that captivates so many. Seeing the universe for what it really is, you manifest an ineffable cosmic upgrade within your own being. There can be no greater reality than that of the infinite. And since the infinite is all there is, was, and ever will be, the answers you seek have never been far away. Thank you, guys. Thank you for loving this work. Every door has a keyhole that will allow an opening to occur, providing that you appreciate its mysteries. This infinite consciousness is love, everlasting, and it radiates from the center of mind to the farthest reaches of the known and unknown universe and beyond. Walking through the steps to embrace this process is living the life you were promised by the great ancient masters. You cannot necessarily see that which is everywhere and every when, and yet, since it is all there is, the answers are staring at you from every direction. To respect and appreciate the manifest and unmanifest aspects of being is to internalize this great truth and to become it. See, this is kind of hypnotic language, and so I'm bringing out stuff that comes from that deep layer of trance that then harmonizes us with that layer so we can experience what that consciousness is really like. It's a little paradoxical and poetic, but it actually helps you get into this hypnotic state. It's very beautiful. There can never be enough time to explore these mysteries of the universe. Your Christ self is an endless, boundless source of love, hope, and rejuvenation. Your own efforts to rise to the occasion have fundamentally transformed you in ways you barely can comprehend. I wouldn't liken it to an ending, but rather an entirely new beginning, replete with the understandings that only the most diligent seekers can appreciate. Opening your heart to the glory of that which is, you effectively transmute the negativity and restore equilibrium within your own life. It's beautiful. I don't remember writing this. I mean, honestly, I didn't write this. This is just stuff that it's like I'm reading it for the first time. It's really intense because I just listen. I don't want to pay attention to the words, and I just write them down. Just try to stay in as high of consciousness as possible. So this, I really like this. I'm happy with what we got here. And we're right about to hit 3:33 local time here in Colorado. I guess this is duplicated. I wouldn't liken it to an ending, but rather an entirely new beginning, replete with the understandings that only the most diligent seekers can appreciate. Opening your heart to the glory of that which is, you effectively transmute the negativity and restore equilibrium within your own life. For some reason, we needed to do that twice. So there you go. There it is. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments here as well. All right. Please take that stupid picture down. Are you kidding me? Stupid picture of the president. Shut up now and go to your queen, Wilcock. Okay, Sofa King, profound. I guess some of you guys are a little bit behind because of ads and everything. Anyway, that's funny. Bye for now. I'll see everyone next week. God bless you, David. Healing energy and love to Suzanne. I'm sorry you had to go, but we're happy to have you. We're almost done here. We're going to do 3 hours and 33 minutes. Anyway, this is really the key of the whole thing. So let's keep going. To recognize that you are above no one and below no one is to tap into the great ineffable mystery of creation and the oneness itself. It is a glorious moment as you come to these understandings, for they exist completely outside of time and space as you now understand it. So everybody is one. We're all equal. You gain faith, trust, awareness, and knowingness, and the journey is both obscured and illuminated as you perceive those moments of silence in between conscious thoughts. Never far from the goal line, and yet comfortable with the eons of preparatory work that led to this moment in time. You gain faith, trust, awareness, and... sorry, that's another dupe. It's because I have to copy it to make new text. But anyway, I guess you need to see that twice. So there you go. Love your channeling, says Elisa Taylor. Beautiful blessings and gratitude. Protection always. Unconditional love, brother. Thank you. I really appreciate that. We're doing the best we can here, you guys. Wade Woodruff says, it's been fun, but I got to run. See you soon. Fractal Friends holding space for you here in Arizona. Wade, you're one of the best. Thank you, buddy. I'm glad. I should have put you in my list on X last night, but I forgot your name. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I'm really glad that you're here. And wow, we've had $2,400 gross revenue in chats today, super chats. That's incredible. Thank you very much. Serena Bella, hey, can I have some extra prayers? I've been in the hospital. Crohn's has flared up. Also hit the like button. Thank you, Serena. Yes, we pray for you. We pray for your healing. Absolutely. Lisa Dawn Marble, go see the movie Michael. Okay, sounds good. Midnight Mark says, get well soon, little sister. That's great. But we're almost done here, you guys. Fracking commercial right as the inspirational stuff is on. You trying to say something, YouTube AI? LOL. Well, again, just hit skip if you don't like it, but we're almost done. We're almost done. The great wheel of the great wheel of time continues turning, and the season approaches where the great bounty is reaped for all, a time of restoration, renewal, and discovery, without the vain attachments and conditions that so often defined the offerings of the past. It is a realization that all can discover, as its precepts are almost absurdly simple. It is the application and the realization of these truths that attracts those of the highest caliber. It is the dumbing down of humanity that prevents these simple tasks from being taken seriously. This is the great puzzle that you are now facing. It's simple, but it's also very important that we practice it anyway. Approaching that Christ self within is understanding the promise of a new tomorrow, made whole in the glory of today. The longing that characterized so much of the past effortlessly fades into the gentle faith, love, and trust that defines the now. Not to be forgotten, not to be overlooked, this ineffably vast center of being always finds its way back into your reality field. There can never be any other truth but that of the one infinite, and your existence is upheld by its very nature. Recognize that your own diligent efforts have brought you to this point of transformation. You have worked and strived and pushed far beyond your own limitations. You have sought the highest positivity within the darkest situations, and now is a time of restoration, hope, healing, positivity, and rebirth. Life on Earth will not remain so stressful as you head into the future. You are indeed working through a planetary transformation process. This knowingness is paramount, as it means centuries, millennia of negative karma is now reaching its coalescence and cleansing point. As you see the darkness of the old ways coming up for global review and healing, be ye not deterred by the negativity and mistrust that can result from this. This is your moment to step into the spotlight, to reclaim the majestic legacy that is the true lineage of all incarnate souls. Step forth and gain an awareness of who and what you really are, a holographic reflection of the universe, full of the power and the glory that is the seed of all known and unknown creation. Within you is the potential to recreate the universe and to transform yourself as well. Vanity, pride, and posturing will not bring about the results that you seek. The quiet moments, the humility, the patience, the love, and respect for others. This is the path that promises the greatest results when seeking the Christ. Embodying these principles is stepping into the living light that this awareness already exists as. See yourself as a divinely perfected being, and then strive to make the changes within yourself that can refine and define those understandings. Live in the promise and the acceptance of these greater universal truths, and remember always how deeply and fully you are loved by so many who surround you. This is the time of times, the moment of awakening. This is your grand opportunity to move beyond all senses of limitation and embrace the glorious future that awaits you. A throng of angelic spectators surrounds you and eagerly awaits your grand reconciliation of the schism within your personality structure. And yeah, I was inspired by the schism of the alliance, which I don't think is really there now. By finding and accepting the love and forgiveness, you may rise above self-imposed limitations and achieve the crowning victory that materiality is intended to produce. Verily, the world is your oyster, and you can enjoy the fruits of that realization. You have never strayed too far from the goal, and even when it appears that you have gone far away from what you intended, even when it appears you've gone far away from what you had intended, perhaps you never really wavered at all. Your commitment is pure, your heart is true, and it is you who completes your own hero's journey at the appropriate time. Yes, this is an incredibly challenging and difficult time to be alive on Earth. We encourage you to focus on the positive above all else, and remember, you are loved. The goal is closer in the future than you may think, and your safe passage through these dire straits is utterly assured in the grandest sense. We are very grateful to have you on this path with us, working together for greater harmony. We love you more than words can say, and remind you that you are never alone. We thank you for being here in this unique time, and wish you all of the very best on your path. Never forget that, just like everyone else equally, you are the light. You are the love. You are the one infinite creator. This is as it was, as it is now, and as it always shall be, and nothing and no one can take that from you. And so it is. Amen. I guess that will have to stand as our global peace meditation. Let's just do a little bit more here for the sake of argument. Father, Mother, God, we're so grateful to you. Let's please send peace, healing energy to Iran, to the Straits, Russia, Ukraine, all those areas of conflict in the world where there is stress. Let's please heal these areas, bring about as much light as possible, heal others, and most of all, heal ourselves. Ask for the healing of your messenger here, David Wilcock. Pray for the healing, body, mind, and spirit. Pray for the healing of all others and for the goodness of humanity. Thank you so much, Father, Mother, God. We love you. We appreciate you. Adonai and Amen. Thank you. All right, you guys, we're good. That was our little quick global peace meditation. I'll read a couple of your comments here. We're getting very close to the end here, so we don't have hardly any time. I honestly think commercials are timed to hit, so we don't get the same kind of down. Well, yeah, you can hit the skip button, but again, somebody says that has a great frequency, and so it is. Amen. Kiko says, nice to see you in a good mood today, David. It lifts our spirits. Meditation, vibing together, shines so bright. Great show yet again. Much love to us all. Thank you very much, Kiko. Eden Hollander says, thank you, David. Walking Tree says, arigato. Midnight Mark, great meditation, great show. Love you, brother. Glad I got done early and could catch most of it. You can come in and get the rest later. Saving the best for last. The end won't be for everyone. I think it's possible that he was sacrificing his reputation for the sake of the plan, just like Batman in the movie The Dark Knight. Thank you so much, David, for your time, effort, and energy. Ghost of Adi, you are now cleared for liftoff. Appreciate that very much. Awesome show, David. Keep the light flowing and keep the faith. Sofa King, that was beautiful. Thank you for another great show, says Vicky Cornwall. Venus Renata, so it is. Amen. Thank you guys so much. I really love you and appreciate you guys. I'm so glad that you're here, guys and girls. We will see you on the next time around. And I am so grateful, and we'll do the typical lead out here. And A-N-D, not E-N-D, and scene. There we go. All right, you guys. Thank you so much.